Yes, guys, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boys Dave and Jack, and your boys sounding better than ever before, looking better than ever before, and hopefully you are all well. Of course, the stressing times going on at Tottenham Hotspur right now. Before we came on, I was just sort of thinking, should supporting a football club be this hard, be this tiresome? Unfortunately, it's the life my dad gave me. But Jacko, how are you, my man?
Dave, you're looking good, but honestly, you're probably not feeling good, I imagine, with the case of Tottenham Hotspur. You have all the, the new bells and whistles, which, we're going to be working out, and Dave is looking good, but unfortunately, Spurs are not looking as good as Dave is right now, which is a shame. And it's nice to see that you do have a bit of the memories, at least that we can hold on to in the background for us to look at when Emerson was holding the flare, some of the good times that we had under Antonio Conte. But I guess in a way we would say normally with fan shows, lots to talk about, but I feel like it's kind of a lot of the same to talk about. And we often are maybe a bit of a broken record with some of the things that, we bring up with the center backs as well as with outgoings and the Harry Kane situation. But it feels like everybody kind of as a fan base is more or less on the same page with the fact that Spurs are just kind of doing a whole lot of nothing right now. And I guess everybody just feels like they're sort of repeating themselves. And Dave, I mean, we definitely have gotten used to that. We've been probably repeating ourselves since, the stages of, early June or May. But yeah, it's good to see that, you're sounding a lot better, Dave, and you're looking a lot better, but Spurs are not looking a lot better. I wish they could match you.
Jack, we've still got so much to do with a short space of time. We put out a couple of videos a couple of weeks ago and everyone was saying, calm down, relax. Now there's fireworks going off absolutely everywhere with the state of what's going on. Look, as well, that's why we haven't done as many streams of late as well, because it's just so repetitive. There's nothing else new to talk about. It's tiring. But we have a full schedule ahead with a lot of new shows coming your way this season to look forward to. But look, before we get into some of the talking points, because we have a few, let's welcome some people into the chat. Let's see what loyal people we have with us. We have Ashley Coupe. Says, hello, guys. Big up, Ashley. Hopefully you're keeping well. Good to see you in the building. We have Tequila 316. I mean, I don't know how many bottles you've gone through now this summer, my man. But he says, I'm very happy to be here. Okay, USA. Okay, happy clappers. Okay, Levy lovers. Much love. Big up Derek Smith. Positivity, a belief in what needs to happen will happen. Do you know what, Derek? I admire that way of thinking. Don't get me wrong, but I've tried thinking that way for the last 2 and a bit years, 3 years now, and it just hasn't changed. So hopefully you can understand why I'm maybe not on that line of thinking anymore, my man. Big up Stephen. He says Levy has a surprise. Need to keep Kane and just try to win something next season with Ange. Can't be left with Son and Richarlison. Look, if we let Kane go, we're going to have to bring someone in. That's just the reality of it. I know you're not going to place him directly, but we definitely need to bring someone in here for sure. Sorry if it looks like I'm looking down all the time. I'm just getting used to looking higher up at my new camera. Who else have we got here? We have Nathan Redmond. Because we are under the lookout of Daniel Levy once again. He is effing it all up as usual. It's now just norm. I'm not expecting anything now from this club, and nor should anyone else. I'm getting to that point, Nathan. I'm absolutely at that point where it's just like, I got to the point, it's like, not that I give up expecting, it's like, it's just, like I said, it shouldn't be this hard. Big up, Ellie. Great to see you. She says, I'll be on support the cause of Don't Sell Arcane. Absolutely love that. And look, what I will say is, it's getting very close to what, Bayern Munich either haven't stumped up the cash, or Daniel Levy sort of accepting where he's at with the Kane situation and making a decision, because you can't make a decision like that a week out from the season. It's just absolutely criminal, Ellie. We have Wayne Bonner. Big up, Wayne. I'll email you back, sir. Do not worry. He's dying to do one of them. Tell me your Spurs stories. And anyone else that has one of them elite memberships, please reach out. We've put up stuff in the community section for you guys, but please reach out and email us, and we'll get your one done as well. And if you want reference to what we're doing, it's something I sort of done. I've done a version of it when I first started this channel. Ellie done one and stuff like that. So just type that in and check it out. And, you'll see why you want to do one. Big up Adrian Schrocker says, good evening all. Big up, Adrian. Great to see you, my man. We also have Drew. This is good evening, Dave and Jack, and all in the chat. Big up, Drew. Great to see you. Big up, Chris Boy. Hopefully you're keeping well. I haven't seen you in a few weeks, sir. Hopefully you're doing well, my man. Maybe I fear that he's gone off to be a Newcastle fan or a Leicester fan, because his great friend Winks has been sold. Jacko.
I think Chris probably has made too much of an enemy with the Newcastle fans, back in the day, Dave, when, a few of the wins that we would grab over them. I think him in the workplace, when it comes to the Newcastle rivalry with Spurs, I think Chris could never go back. But when it comes to Winks, I think Chris is exactly right, Dave. Maybe he is a little saddened to, see him part ways with us. And he's sort of like me, Dave. He's in the same boat as me. I guess we might throw him in there. Big up to Chris. Hopefully they're keeping well. Good to see Scooter reacts as well.
Yeah, big up, Chris. Great to see you, Scoot Reacts. Hopefully you're keeping well. This is more than all. Big up. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Tyler. Great to see you. Hopefully you're out enjoying some tennis today, my man, because there's no news, so big yourself up. Jackson De Silva says sell Kane and invest. Disagree, but look, I'm open. Look, if we have to do it, we have to do it. But what I don't want is we need to sell Kane to bring in centre backs. No way, not having it. It's the first thing that should have been done at this football club.
Invest before we sell Kane.
Exactly. Because what happens is we sell Kane. Oh, we want that guy. Yeah, great. You got 100 million for Harry Kane. So we're going to want 10, 15 million extra on top of that. Take it or not. So it's going to cause us problems if we don't get the business in before we sell someone like Harry Kane, if that's what they are doing. Tequila says, just got a call from Mr. Munn. They want to play centre-back. I said, no, Spurs not a big enough club for me. I want to play for Munich. By the way, has anyone seen him? I mean, I've had to send out the IrishHotspur army. They've gone out there with about 4 days' worth of rations, binoculars, the whole lot. The whole West Ham starter pack, West Ham Stadium starter pack to go out and look for this guy. No one knows where he is. Big up, Nico, as well. Good to see you, my man. Great to see you. How do I look? Rate me out of 10, Nick. Big yourself up. Great to see you, my man. Who else have we got? Sarah Ace, big up. Says big up, Dave and Jack and everyone. Good evening, Sarah Ace. Great to see you. Jason Helms as well. He's gone with the clock is ticking 100%, my man. It's more than ticking.
Well, Jason. Good to see us. We finally delivered, as well as Welsh Gal's in the house, Dave, and she's celebrating 17 months, and she's saying loving Jack's secret location at NYC at Dave's new background. Big up. Thanks for the great content. I was going to say, what do you prefer, Welsh Gal? Do you prefer, kind of various shoe boxes and, kind of stacked clothes as the background? Or do you prefer, Dave, see a sleek background, to each his own, But eventually, I think it will start to look a bit more like home. But yeah, I would say I do look like I could be held hostage or something, back here, Dave. But it's nice that at least I have an air conditioner, for me by the hostages. They're not the worst.
And look, if you see sweat dripping off me, it's from all the lighting around me, from all the angles to make me old boy look sexy. But just saying, if there is anyone out there that's watching and says, look, great picture, Dave, you look great in it, but we feel like we want to design you something that's going to be even better, feel free to get in contact. That'd be absolutely awesome. I'll never say no. But big up, Welsh Gal. Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. Plenty of IPAs, I'd say, this summer. I mean, you've probably gone through crates of them at this stage. Big up, Graham. Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. I mean, what's going on over there, Graham? What's going on, my man? Good to see you, though. I will be at the Chelsea game on the 4th of November for my birthday. So it'd be nice to see you over there, my man. Big yourself up. AK Shags says, come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love it. Nick also says, I have a feeling that Levy's playing a game of hide the Schmitzel with these Bayern punks. Don't piss off the bean counter. Yeah, look, he's doing something,
Don't put it past Levy. Don't put it past Levy, Nick, to waste 3 weeks with Bayern and not spend any time to get center backs in or do any outgoings. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to just waste 3 weeks with Bayern and waste 3 weeks of Spurs' time just to say no at the end of the day to Bayern. They'll fly all the way over here just for him to say no, and then we just sort of scratch our heads about why we're not even doing anything with anything else. I wouldn't put it past him. And
you know what? Just because the way they pursued it, I hope Oktoberfest is a washout. I really do. I hope they can't have that beer drinking festival that they have over there. I hope it's a complete washout this year. But big up, Nick. Great to see you, my man. Gamer16 says, invest in new camera, guys. Looking good. I mean, look, your boy Jack has been looking like an actor there for about a year now. I'm about a year behind, but I'm getting there. Big up, Gamer16. I'm one of them. I'm really awful with technology, so it takes me ages to get up to speed with things and all that sort of jazz. But your boy's here now, and a big season coming your way. Who else have we got here now? Slow Jamrod. Big up, guys. We need to see change. That we do, lad. Big change at this point. It's just so slow. It's unbelievable. John, just John. I don't know how to pronounce the rest of that. I don't know. I'm not going to butcher it. Just John sounds good. Says, hey guys, do you think the transfer funds depend on Kane being sold? Jacko?
I certainly hope not. If I were to be in any way positive or happy clapping, I would say perhaps maybe it's more dependent on what type of players they do bring in, depending on Harry Kane being sold, right? So if Harry Kane gets sold, do they throw a big fee on someone like a Kolo Muani or a Dusan Vlahovic or some player like that of that sort of caliber? Maybe like you would think probably around 70 or 80 million is what you're kind of looking at to get those sort of type of players. And so maybe then we're not spending, I don't know, the money that we would have then on like a Tapso, but then we end up, sort of, you could just see that maybe Spurs are waiting to see with Harry Kane's future which certain players they spend on. But to be honest, I think the fact that they haven't spent any money in the first place on any center back whatsoever, there really is no excuse for it. But I don't think we're waiting to see whether Harry Kane is sold or not to do business. I feel like that shouldn't even have an effect on the center backs that we already need. It shouldn't have any effect whatsoever.
And the thing is, if I'm an owner, which the money is there, but if it wasn't, I'd still say, look, I'm going to find it. It's obviously because you invest more money, which means you'll make more money because you got better players. But at the end of the day, even if they did sell Kane, are they still going to bring in centre backs? Are they not bringing in centre backs just purely because of how clogged up that position is and they can't sell? For me, I think it's a risky game what we're doing. We should have had the business done by now, and it's definitely going to have a knock-on effect into the season. But big up, John. Great to see you, my man. We have Ricky Nader says, evening Spurs. Family, this Kane saga is causing sleepless nights. Do you know what? I'm sleeping like a baby lately. Postecoglou, whatever you want to call him. He's looking like Pletty idiot. So that's good. Still no movement. I'd have to fly to London just to leave 20 million in valuation apart. I mean, it's absolutely embarrassing. You're hearing reports going, oh, they didn't fly to London. Oh, they did fly to London. Honestly, no one knows what's going on, whether they're coming and going. Until Bayern Munich put in what Tottenham want, it's a non-runner. So stop wasting everyone's time. Stop wasting air miles. Stop polluting the world. And, just come over with the money, or else just don't call them at all. And I still
stop wasting the phone lines. Stop wasting the phone lines. The phone lines could be busy. They could be better spent, with someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm just bored of it. But big up, Ricky. Great to see you, sir. We also have Mary W. Mary, you two smiling. Look, honestly, I'm at the point, if I don't smile, I'm going to cry, Mary. So, that's what it is at this point. It's like, I'm just going to cry if I don't. And I just want to preserve my own happiness. So great to see you, Mary. We also have Sue Smith, evening all. Another no news day at Tottenham Towers. Honestly, do you know what? When you don't want news and you want to go off and do stuff and enjoy yourself, or you just want a break, it comes out like wildfire. And then when you do want news and you're bored and you've nothing else to do, it's completely dead. It's a joke. It's a joke. But Sue, hopefully you are keeping well and good to see you. We'll take one or two more and then we'll just flash up some quick talking points and then we'll start getting on the guests. We've got Paul Markey. Have you not realized, guys, it's now a tradition with Spurs to do nothing?
We just get fooled every time, though, Paul. I think that's part of it. I think they cast the magic spell or the magic dust, especially on myself, considering how young I am. I am a bit of a goldfish of a Spurs fan at times. So I guess they just find a way to sort of cast a magic spell on me to believe that they might get, the obvious done. But this is, I would say, one of the times where it really has truly taken the cake here, Paul. Like, it really is sort of more obvious than it ever has in seasons past. I mean, what was it, Dave? Like the most we had ever conceded since 1990. Even just saying that in the first place, the fact that I'm even referencing the 90s, the fact that I'm even referencing the 90s should say enough about, how bad of a season that was defensively. So I don't know. I think this has actually taken the cake when it comes to some of Levy's sort of, how would you put it, surprisals or, some of his surprising sort of lack of, kind of movement or whatever you call it. I think this has really taken the cake, to be fair, in some manner.
And he's going to use Scott Munn being held up as City's excuse somewhere down the line. Could already see it coming. But big up, Paul. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. It looks like your boy Gio's staying. You must be a happy clapper right now, Paul Markey. Big yourself up, sir. We've got a super chat from Kane and Taki. Good to see you, Kane. I haven't seen you here in a while, my man. He says, guys, ready for Sanchez, Dyer, Tanganga, and centre-back pairings. I mean, look, we're going to get into it tonight off people. Do you want to see start alongside Romero? Just, if we don't get centre-backs. To be honest with you, look, me and Jack sort of said it was coming all along. We've seen the PR machine spinning reels. Oh, Dyer was playing injury. I was playing injured last season since like October or November or something like that. It's like, okay, well, if he was, Why didn't we do something in January? So that's poor business straight there. And then also his mistakes and his shit performances helped get Conte the sack. So again, it's another thing bad by the club. We went through 3 managers last year because of it. And then you see him, coming at this season in training earlier than everybody else. To feel sorry for me sort of documentary that came out about him. They were always buttering us up for it. Let's not forget there was rumors that all last season about this guy potentially getting a new contract. For me, I think they're going to wait for Dyer to be in a good light. And I think you'll see a contract renewal, if you want me to be brutally honest. As for Sanchez, I mean, look, first of all, I don't blame the guy for not wanting to go to Russia right now. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But he's had other offers, and he hasn't, I think there was Galatasaray and stuff, Jack.
Yeah. No, he's had offers from elsewhere. Let's not forget that. I completely agree that he, in his own right, should absolutely probably reject a move to go to Russia. I think it is a bit sort of sleazy on Spurs to even try to kind of get that done. But at the same time, I think the reason they've tried to get that done is because he's basically said no to some of the other offers I think they've been kind of listening to from other kind of leagues that I guess weren't really willing to meet his wage demands, where I guess maybe the Russians could have been more willing to meet his wage demands. And then he just sort of felt like, yeah, that wasn't the location he was keen on. But to say that Davinson Sanchez hasn't been given opportunities to leave, I would say is kind of, it looks like he has been given opportunities to leave. He's just maybe more concerned about whether he's going to keep his wages to what he's had at Spurs. And knowing that a lot of people have seen him play for Spurs, they're definitely not going to pay those wages because he probably isn't good enough for those wages.
For sure. But big yourself up, Kane, and really appreciate the support, brother, and good to see you in. We're going to get a couple more comments, just quick flash up, welcome people in. We've got Gabrielle1 says 11K subscribers or bust, but we're not too far away. If people want to make that happen tonight, you guys know what you need to do. So big yourself up. Who else have we got here? I think we have Hennessy in here somewhere. Big up, Hennessy. Again, you might want to change that name because you might get people clawing at you just to escape Spurs' problems. Says, evening looking handsome, Dave and Jack. New mic, Dave, and green screen. Oh, come on. I mean, look, first of all, I was actually listening back to streams, and it's sort of like I apologize for the harshness on your ears with me with no microphone. It was really, really bad. So hopefully you actually, I sound a bit better, or it takes that harshness away. So hopefully it works for you guys. Hopefully it's more of an easier listening, especially when I'm ranting, raving. It gets even, more high-pitched in your ears. So I do apologize about that.
Yeah, hopefully it sounds more like an Irish butter now, Hennessy. But he's also
to sound like.
But he's celebrating 9 months as a fan show member. He says, looking good, Dave and Jack. Big up to the panel, lads. The way it's going on, I think this is Levy not wanting to sell. Absolute leech on our club. Like I just said, Hennessy, I think he's plenty of times got, pushed us to the edge, but I think this has really taken the cake in a pretty amazing way. He hasn't cleared up the future of Harry Kane whatsoever. He hasn't made really any moves on any of the outgoings that have been needed to happen for a long time. And as well, he hasn't brought in the most obvious players that we've needed, which are center backs. He's 0 for 3. He's striking out this summer, and it's in a pretty impressive way with actually only 2 weeks left till we actually play Brentford. This is really, in my opinion, taking the cake of all the times that, he's kind of, how would you put it, fooled us or whatever you want to phrase it. And then also THFC Till I Die, celebrating 19 months as a fan show member. He says, big up, guys. Here we go again. Spurs will kill us one day. But what a hell of a ride it has been. Thank you for all you guys do. Love the Harris Army. Come on, you Spurs. If this is sort of a theoretical roller coaster, Dave, with Spurs, feels like if we were holding on, all we would have is basically an arm or a pinky or basically a hand left. Everything else has fallen off at this stage. I don't even know what I have left holding on to this roller coaster.
Dermot, do you know what? It used to be a roller coaster, and now it just seems to be going down, 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 and there's very little ups on it. So I don't even know if it's a roller coaster anymore. I think it's a one-way bridge to hell, to be honest with you, at the moment, Dermot. But big yourself up, my man. Look, we'll never, ever stop supporting the club, and that's probably half the problem. That's why they hike up ticket prices and don't bring in centre-backs, because they know we're just going to support them anyway. We're suckers, absolute suckers. But look, a couple of quick flash-throughs. Big up, Carl Simpson. Great to see you. Wisdom Wolf, great to see you. Paddy Harnick, good to see you, sir. I know. Everyone, you should know what that picture is. It's Harry Kane when he scored against Arsenal. Emerson could not help himself but get that flare out. Iconic. Big up, King Hoddle. Now he's still here, my man. He's still here. Big up Pedro Mendes. Look, it's an absolute joke, brother. It's an absolute joke. Big up Tom THFC as well. Great to see you. We also have Ewan. Great to see you. Andy Lonergan as well. Colin Turner. Hotspur J. Great to see you. And also DB in the house.
Legend.
Great to see you, my man. Evening few, a proper show live, not the waffle show. Good to see you guys. Big up DB. Good to see you. And also Paul O'Connor. Great to see you, my man, as well. And also Kate and Jim in the house. Big up, Kate. Hopefully you get better soon as well. She's feeling under the weather. So everyone wish Kate well. And then also Adrian Schrocke. Great to see you. By the way, when are you going to grace us with your presence, Adrian? I've seen you on other shows. When are you going to grace us here, my man, with your presence? Big yourself up. Also, Eco Echo, Ray Hill, Sebas Wolf as well. John, Mr. Lewis as well. Big up, Jason. Great to see you. But look, we're going to skip down to the very bottom of the chat because we are way behind. Well, actually, we've got Jack start a few comments, so we'll get to them in 1 second as well. Big up, Jacko, on that, by the way. Just a girl loves Spurs, Kate. Big up, guys. Hope the move went well, Jacko.
Yeah, I think it's gone mostly well. I actually completely have moving out of Crown Heights, out of the old neighborhood. It's done. It's over with. I have parted with the original neighborhood that I moved to Brooklyn with, Kate, and it's now on to a new story. And so we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, officially moved out. Still sort of kind of moving into this place as we go, with each passing day, as you can tell by the pile of clothes next to me and the shoe boxes behind me. But we're getting there. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for keeping me in mind. And I hope you feel better soon, Kate. And especially at this time of year in the summer, you want to be out and about and, picking up any type of cold or any sort of illness or any kind, it definitely sucks. So big up to you, Kate. And hopefully Jim is taking good care of you.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is, old Jim boy. Big up, Jimmy. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. We've got Steve D. He says, hello, lads. Over the ENIC era, this is an average transfer window. It's not a new. I'm still going to enjoy it more than last season with zero expectations. Yeah, look, I can understand it. For me, I think I'll always go into a season with some sort of expectation, Steve. I don't like, going into a season with zero expectations. But look, you're right in a nutshell. It's always these windows. It's like you go in, you get so much done, and then you're like, okay, we just need this. We just need a couple bit more pieces ready to go. Doesn't happen. They pull the reins in. It's like dangling, a chip in front of me and saying, Dave, you can waft it, you can smell it. And then as I go to bite it, pull it away and throw it into a river. You know what I mean? It's absolutely not right. And all we want as Spurs fans, we literally just want to go into a season with absolutely everything we need for once. We're not asking for much. We've got the bones of a good squad there. Harry Kane is waiting to see what we do in this transfer window. He's not going to sign unless that defense is changed. Plus, maybe a midfielder as well. But we just have zero ambition or appetite to even do it. Everything has come to a halt, Jacko.
No, everything has come to a halt. And like I said, I feel like if one of those, I said this to you earlier, Dave, when we were sort of speaking in the morning, I felt like if Levy had done one of the three things I had mentioned earlier, either if he had really gotten a go-ahead on some of the outgoings, let's say he got rid of Rodon, got rid of Sanchez, maybe got rid of a Dyer, got rid of, let's say, even players like, even though we want maybe them to stay, like a Gio or a Tanguy Ndombele, other players that we just kind of feel like needed to go to release some wages, as well as kind of, just sort of free up some spaces for us to be able to bring in some incomings. I think a lot of us wouldn't really feel as panicked, actually, because if he got rid of a lot of center backs, it would then mean we would know he's planning on bringing in actually some center backs at the end of the day, right? It kind of sort of works that way. But then let's say he doesn't do the outgoings. Maybe instead he just brought in a Tapsoba or brought in a Van de Ven or brought in even like a Max Kilman or an Anderson or somebody like that from Crystal Palace. Like, it doesn't need to be the two that we've mentioned all summer with Van de Ven or a Tapsoba. It could have been perhaps one of the sort of, how would you put it? Like the ones that are going to be pushing for that starting position, but might not be the star signing of the window. It could have been a Kilman, it could have been a Guehi, it could have been an Anderson or somebody like that, or maybe even a Tosinat or a Bio at the end of the day. And I felt like Spurs fans would still be a bit more relaxed, at this stage, knowing that at least there was somebody different. Let's say he doesn't even do the center backs. He could have brought, some sort of clarity on the Harry Kane situation. He could have either said to Spurs fans straight away that they were going to be listening to offers. Whether we disagree with that or not, Dave, is, kind of a different thing. But at least there is some sort of clarity that Spurs are planning on selling and are planning on trying to replace him this summer, as well as make some other moves. or they're planning on trying to convince him and trying to plan on sort of, bringing in the players to convince Kane that we want to win the trophies. He could have done one of those three things.
Yeah.
And I think Spurs fans would be nowhere near as anxious as they are right now.
And I mean, like, the thing is, it was coming in, it was so obvious what we needed. And the fact that we've just completely turned a blind eye to it and done other bits and pieces, and just turned a complete blind eye to what was the obvious. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable, Steve D. But big yourself up, brother. Big up, Tyler. He says, the thing is, I'm most pissed about is that I can't even play Tottenham career mode. I bought that sober Van de Ven. Got rid of the Lara defense, and none of that will happen. Look, I also knee-jerk. I got Van de Ven in on the Football Manager. I can't play him anymore because I'm disappointed. But big up Ian Ferguson as well. Terry Wright, Legend. Pat Whelan. Great to see you all. Big up, Pat, by the way. Wilson T says, big up, guys. Think we've all done something in a previous life. I think so, my man. I'd like to know what I've done. I'd like to be able to speak to someone about that, brother. Big yourself up. Mark Ivy says, best thing that can happen is for Brentford to put 6 past us next weekend, although I doubt that will even happen. Look, I'll be honest, you just don't know. If we're going off what Brentford done to us last season, and the season before, by the way, towards back in the season. Long ball, crosses into the box, aerial duels won. They won every single one of them and run down the sides of Tottenham because the fullbacks or the wingbacks were weak. You get in behind that back line. And we haven't done anything to address that at centre-back region, especially with the corner kicks, crosses into the box. We have not done anything to address that. And that's the problem. So we could very easily get undone, Mark. Big yourself up. And Adrian Schrocker, my man, just deliver us an email, sir. Big yourself up, brother. But look, I think we are going to crack on. We are going to get into it. Everybody, great to see you all here. Let's see what all the guests have to say as well. Make sure you keep engaging with us in the comment section. Get your talking points or your comments in as we're going along. Also, if you could smash that like button, that'd be bloody awesome as well for the new look, the new sound. Mm-hmm. And why not, grab one of them channel memberships if you want to get on and have your say. A small fee every single month, and it's well worth it. We're here every single Monday, plus all the other content we put out, plus all the private perks you guys are now getting. And you want to hop on them channel memberships because we have Fantasy IrishHotspur Fantasy Football League. We've got a members-only podcast where we just sit down, we discuss with you guys. No one else will see it. We've got quiz nights coming with prizes at the end of the season. We'll be running a league table for that throughout the season. So you guys just simply want to go onto the home face, click the join button, and see which one suits you. Or if you want to, feel free to throw in a super chat and help support your boys. No comment is good or bad. No comment is stupid. Whatever you're feeling, get it in. Myself and Jack, we'll have a great discussion on it. Yeah. And just talk Tottenham. That's what we're all here to do, even though the club kills us, Jackal.
Exactly right. And Moondog, by the way, he's also joined the building and he's celebrating 20 months as a Flat Cap member. He says, big up, David and Jack. Good to see you in the house, Moondog, my friend. And hopefully some things start happening this week because this is a big week ahead of us for Spurs, Moondog. And it's good to see you still in here in the house. Hopefully you're keeping well. And I want to see you in those quiz nights like Welsh Gal is bringing up there, Moondog. Use your knowledge, my friend. We want to see you competing at the top of the table. And also, Moondog, if you ever feel like, competing in that fantasy league once it's put up there and once it's ready to go, especially once Spurs get some new signings in that we can put in our fantasy teams, you get in there as well. Big up, Moondog.
Big up Rob Belcher as well. And also Tim Man 007. Big up at this depressing time. We pray for Ange. I mean, honestly, I'm that short of going down to like candles, my man. What we do need is actually 007 to get in there, strap them up and ask them what they're doing so we can get answers. But big up, Tim, man. Good to see you in, and hopefully you are keeping well, sir. So just run through quickly some of the talking points that we've got tonight for people, who would you start centre back beside Romero on the season opener? Why do you think activity on incomes and outgoings have grinded to a complete halt? Absolutely shocking. Spurs haven't agreed any more outgoings other than Harry Winks and have not brought in a centre back after a record-breaking goals conceded season, and have not given any clarity to the fan base on the Harry Kane situation. Is Levy painting a huge target on his back? Great question from Jack. I think we all know the answer for that. I mean, it's probably illuminated on it at this stage. Also, Gio Lascelles, unexpected redemption arc. Will you have to turn in an apology form at the end of the season? So let us know on that. And if you want to come on and have your say on the Jay-Z potential takeover bid, also have your say on that or whatever you fancy either. But look, Jack, I think we'll start getting into it, will we?
Let's get in there, and it's going to be Dermatron that's going to be kicking us off, everybody. So welcome in, Dermatron, and everybody do get your comments in, and let's see what he has to say. Dermatron, anything that you want to start us off with? You know, Gio Lo Celso apology forms or anything like that?
I think Lo Celso's an interesting one way to start off with because, look, for me, he still needs to go. I don't think he's got a future. I think he's had his chance, and I think he's putting in performances to get a move for himself. If you know you're on your way out, you're always going to put in better performances than you have been because you want to attract the clubs to come and buy you. But he's playing in the position, I think, where he plays for Argentina. And I think, and this is why we're seeing the best of him now. So Ange's got sort of a conundrum on his hands. Do I keep him or do I sell him? And it's a 50-50, but for me,
I think he said he's going to keep him for the rest of the season, Dermot. He's pledged his allegiance basically to Lo Celso, but maybe not Tanguy and Ndombele. Everybody in kind of the beginning of the summer, like myself, wanted it to be more of a Tanguy kind of redemption arc. Do you feel like at the moment it's more likely that Gio is going to be trying to win back over Spurs fans?
I think so. I think he's the one that's been trying the hardest, to be fair, in pre-season. But look, Tantanga and all them do need to go. Ndombele's gone. I don't want him anywhere near the first team. I mean, the snail moves quicker than he does. If it was between him and the snail, I'd pick the snail for a starting lineup because we'd probably get more at the snail than we would have Ndombele fat ass, as Dave calls him. But look, for me, Lo Celso, I want him gone because he's a bad influence in the dressing room. But look, it's down to Ange, and if Ange says, I want him, then I trust Ange. I back him all the way. So,
look, on that, Dermot, look, I get it. I've been as disappointed as you, and I think it's also too early to start signing apology forms, right? 245 minutes doesn't make a player, and it certainly doesn't make a season. I've seen Gio Lo Celso put in a couple of good appearances off the bench here or there before under Jose Mourinho. But what we now are looking for is the consistency. Don't get me wrong. I think someone like Ange is the man that can sort of maybe get that out of him. And look, he's probably one of the only pluses to come away from preseason, that we've sort of gained an extra player in that midfield. And look, Ange Postecoglou, there's reports before this Lion City Sailors, by the way, we're Tiger Cup champions, with the Lion City Sailors, Dermot, reports in Spain were leaking that Lo Celso was expected to stay at Tottenham and that Ange convinced them. And then Ange was asked about after the game and he more or less doubled down. So you don't need to go to Spain, just ask me. I think, he's more or less staying. So look, everyone always says if that's what Ange wants, they all said it when, the big squad was going on preseason and everything else, if that's what Ange wants. So look, if it's what Ange Postecoglou wants, and plus, look, Dermot, he probably has no option to either because we haven't brought anybody in either. So
no,
we just have to bring it there this season, my man. And look, if Lo Celso can come and produce the goods, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, if Lo Celso plays well, it'd be like getting a new player, basically. Do you know what I mean? If he stays injury-free and he plays like he plays for Argentina, it's like getting a new player. But look, you're right, Dave, bringing players in has been a nightmare. It has been an absolute nightmare. Look, I'm always optimistic. I'm always going to say, look, don't worry, we'll get the business done at the end of the day. And look, it's not like transfers is not, I've always said this, it's not like playing FIFA 23 or Championship Manager.
I wish it was.
It is a lot winded. There's agent fees to sort out, there's club fees, there's player rights fees. Do you know what I mean? There's other stuff to sort out, but Jesus, we shouldn't be taking this long to get players in.
Or players out, right, Dermot? That's the other thing. Couldn't we have chosen to get players out instead of getting players in? We could have maybe made things easier on ourselves by trying to get rid of players sooner than getting players in.
It's like Galatasaray offered 8 million for Ndombele over, I think it was over a payment plan of 4 years. Now they've come back in again and say, what, we do it over 3 years. I still take it. Get him out of the club. He's on 200 grand a week. That's 200 grand off our wage bill. So we can use that getting a defender in. If we get Dyer out, Sanchez out, there's more money off our wage bill. But nobody wants to buy these players because they're on big money and they're no good. So if you're a manager looking at them, are you seriously going to go to Tottenham? Do you know what? I'm going to buy that Sanchez. I'm going to buy that Dyer because they're going to improve my team. You know full well they won't. So the only thing we can do is say to them, look, if you've got a year left in your contract, you're not in the first team, you're going to be training with the kids and, do everything with them. Either we'll cancel your contract now by mutual consent and we'll let you go and find another club. I think that's the way it has to go, because we're never going to sell them because nobody's going to want to buy them, and that's the frustration part of it.
Big up Neil Shafton, by the way. Good to see you in the building, sir. Great to see you, my man. My fellow sufferer. But Dermo, look, I agree with you. I think that's why we're struggling to offload them. You know, that I've always said this. You know, Jack famously had a good quote last summer. Everyone was saying, "Oh, we'll get 20 million here, 20 million there." And Jack was like, "Look, be lucky to get 10 million for them." And you know, not one of our players have been sold for over 10 million since then on these outgoings that Jack listed. So, but look, Dermo, we got to remember. We know they're not good enough, and a lot of the clubs interested in these guys are clubs that don't have that money, or you know, to give Tottenham what they're looking for in the first place, but also to get anywhere near the guy's wages, you know, and that's a big problem. It's not only him; that's a problem right throughout with the Deadwood. Go look at it; they've been handing out contracts after contracts without deserving it, and the club have put ourselves in this position, and it's up to the club to get us out of it. And you're right, you know, you start telling them, look, you're going to face a season of the under-21s. In fact, I'll go even further. I'm like, look, I actually don't want you to spoil the academy, so just don't come into training whatsoever. Or if you do, we'll set you up a little five-a-side pitch over there and off you go. You know, I wouldn't actually even let them anywhere near the under-21s. It's just an absolute joke. But, you know, Tottenham need to do something. And I'm sick of the fans always, you know, paying the price for it. You know, always going into a season with an underwhelming feeling and always coming out of the season with an underwhelming feeling. I just wish they'd give us what we need so we can go in and just have a good campaign and actually bloody enjoy Tottenham Hotspur. No one here has enjoyed, and I speak for everyone out there, no one's enjoyed Tottenham Hotspur for the last 4 years. And it's sad. It's absolutely sad. Even growing up as a kid, Tottenham weren't great. Don't get me wrong. But we were entertaining. We won, we lost, and I enjoyed the roller coaster. Now it's just not a roller coaster anymore. But
look, let's take Rob Belcher, I think, is sort of, you know, on exactly what we've been sort of talking about here, Dermatron. He says, is it true that because our squad is too large, according to the rules, that we have to shift the dross players off before bringing any new players or any new blood in? So basically, like I mentioned before, right, you kind of do have to do outgoings before you even think about a lot of incomings, because there are plenty of players that, you know, have come back from loan and things like that. The squad, you know, size is already quite large. And some of these players have made it quite hard on us to get rid of them. And a lot of them aren't really worth anything in the first place. So, Dermot, do you feel like that's been an overlooked maybe problem this season? The Spurs just trying to shift off players?
I do. I think it's a big problem. We've got players on the contract from the Poch era where they were overplaying themselves, and the club said, "Oh, you're such a great player. We're going to give you a 5-year contract and 80,000 or 90,000 a week," when they're only supposed to be on, don't know, 15 or 20. So, but yeah, it is the problem. We have to. You're allowed a squad limit, and we're at our limit, and we cannot bring any more players in until we get rid of players. But we can't get rid of the players. So Daniel Levy's got to make a decision somewhere along the line within the next 2 weeks, and Paratici has to take a blame for this as well. As much as Paratici did great things at Tottenham, he did make some cock-ups. And one of the cock-ups was putting everyone on a loan to buy or putting them out on loan. It was like kicking the can further down the road.
But what I will say, Dermot, in counter to that, just quickly, because, you know, at least it allowed us to bring players in, right? You look at last summer, we brought in 7 or 8 players. It allowed us to bring players in. So at least he got rid of them one way or another. Right now, we can't even get them out on loan. No, and it's causing the squad to be bloated, and it's stopping us from getting stuff in. So at least
now they picked up injuries too. Sessegnon picked up an injury. Alfie Whiteman just picked up an injury too, which doesn't help our problem at all in any case. So there's that as well. The fact that we didn't get rid of them sooner.
But the point I was making was we should have dealt with it last summer. We shouldn't keep kicking it down the road every summer, every transfer window. Well, I tell you what, we need to get rid of the Deadwood. We need to get rid of Deadwood. Every summer's the same. And we keep kicking it down the road. Oh, we'll put them out on loan. That'll get rid of them for a season. We don't think
Dermot,
about it.
The reason why they're going out on loan is because there's no interest. This is what we have to understand.
You just cancel contracts.
All the other summers are no anomaly to this summer where we can't sell them. That's not an anomaly. The reason why we ended up shipping them out on loan, and a lot of them went out on loan towards the end of the summer transfer window, is because we couldn't sell them. And I'm with you. I'm sick of the excuses of us always, our transfer business having to be halted for these guys. At some point, you've got to wrestle with the fact you've lost out on the money you've signed on them on. You're not going to regain that. You spent a lot of wages, and you just have to wrestle with that truth and accept it and just say, do you know what? If I have to bring players in here, I will. And then hopefully some of them get the nous or even come to me and say, look, can you rip up my contract just so I can go and have pastures new? At some stage, we have to take that step. We cannot keep blaming directors of football for this. At some stage, someone above them, even managers, we can't keep going through it. Some stage, Daniel Levy has to take accountancy and ownership of it and just make it happen.
Look, you cannot cancel contracts without the other players' agreement in it. You just can't, unless they break that contract.
Yes, you can. You can pay it up.
Yeah, but no, you have to be in agreement with it as well, Dave. You cannot just pay up a contract. They have to be in agreement with it.
They'll accept it as long as they're getting what they get over the 5 years. They'll accept
some players won't accept it. Then you just shift them into the under-21s, let them run down the contract and let them walk out. Daniel Levy has to get a grip at this. Who's ever in charge of the transfer has to get a grip at this because there's been the same problem season after season after season after season after season. During the Poch years, it was brilliant. We were paying players more than what they're worth. Giving players bigger contracts. They weren't even worth it. And that is one that's biting us on the arse now because then players think, oh, I'm better than what I am. It's like say me and Jack played in the Poch era, right? Dave, you're a defender, right? And we gave you 120 grand a week. Jack, we gave you in the midfield, you were, say, 130 grand a week and say me 100 grand a week. Oh, but we're nowhere near that level. And then a new manager comes in and says, look, I want to sell you on. But you go to a new club, but I want the money I was on at Tottenham. Well, we ain't paying for it. Well, I ain't moving. Sanchez could have moved last January. Didn't move because he wasn't getting the money he was getting at Tottenham. So we've done this 4 years ago, and it's bit us on the arse now. Now, the only way around it is to cancel the players' contracts. They've got to agree with that. So you've got to make them an offer they can't refuse. And that's down to Daniel Levy and who was over in the transfer department. They need to get a grip of this.
Spot on. Well, big up Rob Belcher, my man. Really appreciate the support and great talking point, Rob. You sent us into a good discussion there between myself and Dermo and Jacko as well. So big yourself up, Rob.
Legend.
Really appreciate the support, my man. Absolutely top man. Great talking point. And we've got another good talking point here, Jacko. Take it away.
Connor Cunningham, hopefully you're keeping well this evening, my friend. He says, I feel for Ange brought in and no real players brought in or out, no improvements in the defense. If I was Ange, I'd be wanting 2 central defenders now, or I'm walking because no manager should be dealing with this shit. We kind of brought this up, Connor. I'm not sure if you saw the video, but I think we maybe posted this 24 hours too early, but we put a video out there saying Ange being set up for failure. And when basically with the thumbnail, where you're sort of showing Harry Kane is likely to leave, Eric Dyer is more likely staying than he is going. At the surface level, if you were sort of looking at Spurs, you'd be kind of scratching your head, kind of like, why is Ange not really being given the rebuild that he was sort of promised, like in any sort of fashion? In fact, he's kind of being given a worse deck of cards than even Antonio Conte, you could argue, had going into his sort of season. And that's what I would say, because the defense doesn't even have Longley anymore. Now we're actually going to be picking between Davies and Tanganga and Dyer to partner Romero for the time being. And also we might not even have a Harry Kane with us. So you really look at the squad on paper, apart from James Maddison and others kind of being brought in, it's a bit of a sketchy situation for Ange. And so, yeah, I feel like he is at this moment in time until the center backs get brought in and some clarity is brought when it comes to Harry Kane's future. And then also when some of these outgoings are made, Connor, I feel like Ange right now might sound dramatic, but is sort of being set up for, in a way, kind of failure. And I feel bad for him because he's supposed to be promised a rebuild in some sort of fashion. He's supposed to be given the keys to kind of lead this rebuild. Big up to you, Connor.
And look, Connor, as well, we'll let Darmo in on this as well. Connor, my man, I mean, first of all, great name. Any relation to Kenny Cunningham? Great Irish centre-back, by the way. But look, my man, I mean, I'm sick of it. Ange Postecoglou, no manager's walking into this job and not making it aware they need centre-backs. There's been this big thing over the last few years that, people haven't asked for centre-backs. Well, Mourinho did, he got Joe Rodon. Nuno asked for them. Okay, he got Romero. Then Conte comes in, asks for them, gets Langley on loan. Ange comes in, asks for them, and hasn't got bloody anybody. He even said it straight after the West Ham game. We're going to get at least one centre-back. It still hasn't happened. This guy, it would have been the first thing he walked in for, when he walked in, asking in the door, I need centre-backs, I need to show up that defence. Because everyone knows, once you've got a good back line, it keeps you clean sheets. It keeps you your job. It keeps you in a job, and it means you can work on things and build things. So that's the first platform and the first process we need to go through for any manager to be at this club longer than 6 months. Over the last few years, we haven't had a manager in the dugout for one full season since Pochettino. Let that one sink in. You know, it's just not good enough. They have not ended the season. It's just not good enough. And at the end of the day, you know, we're setting Ange Postecoglou up for failure by not doing it. You know, I get all the excitement around behind the attack and football, but as we've seen on preseason, and this is what I was telling people at the back end of last season, you know, it doesn't matter if you switch style of play. The same problems are still going to be there at defense, even more so. You look last season, you know, teams were having 30 shots on our goal and breaking us down, 3-4 times, which is way too much. But this season, we've had 5 shots on target, I think, in preseason. 3 of them have gone in, or 4 of them have gone in. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. It's even more crucial now to have a good backline, and I just don't understand why it's not being done. Interestingly, you know, I'd make another, and I'll pass this one. This is how I'll pass it off to you, Dermo. You said about, you know, you blame Paratici for it. Now, last summer, Paratici and Conte made a decision. These guys are not going on preseason tour, which meant we worked on getting them out of the club. Now, we didn't sell anyone because no one was going to come in with a V on their surplus to requirements, but they got them out and freed up spaces. This year, we brought them all on preseason tour. We're 2 seasons out and we haven't got any outgoings. And that's why I made the argument before the preseason tour started. I do not like the fact that all these players are going on the tour because for them to be gone, it's just going to delay it and bring it closer to the season. And now we're here. So do you think maybe the reason why we haven't got centre-backs on that is because we don't have that director of football or someone like Scott Munn in to help get the process to get guys out, to get them in, even though I feel like the club should just be bringing them in regardless?
I think we're a bit directionless, if you know what I mean. We haven't got the captain of the ship steering us in the right way. We seem to have a vice captain steering us into really stormy weather, where if we turned a bit left, we would have been in calm waters. Look, I'm not blaming. I'm one of Paratici's biggest fans. I always call him, like you, Dave, the Don. And for me, he done a lot of good than he did wrong at Tottenham. But that's when he did wrong was the lone bit, kicking the ball down the lane. Look, we know we need central defenders. We know they're there. Now, I know we're still talking to Wolfsburg over Van der Ven. And I know we're sort of still in Van Tapsoba. Now, Van der Ven's more likely to happen than Tapsoba from what I'm hearing. We should have done this months and months ago. We should have had these done in early June or as soon as the window opened, gone in for them. Yeah. But when clubs see Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy coming, and it's like with any transfer, it becomes more of a tangled web. It becomes more of, well, I'll tell you what, he's only 10 million, but we want now 30 million for him. And the price keeps going up. We all know Daniel Levy's a penny pincher, is an accountant by trade, and he will always try to get the best deal for Tottenham. I think for once, Daniel Levy needs to say, do you know what? I'm going to throw caution to the wind. We're going to spend what we need. We're going to buy, if you want 50 million, we're going to pay 50 million. But what happens that defender that buy for 50 million is absolutely awful. All the fans have been shouting, what a waste of money. Why did we spend 50 million on them like they did with Richarlison? Why did we spend 50 or 60 million on him? So we all know we need centre-backs. I think Daniel Levy knows we need centre-backs, but I think he's the vice-captain steering the ship on taking us into a stormy weather. Where if we had a Scott Munn or a Paratici in charge, we'd be in calmer waters and we would have got one or through the door now, to be fair, already. So, look, it's very hard. It's very hard to who's to blame, but we should have got it done by now, Dave. And I do agree with you, and I agree with everyone. We should have got centre backs in by now.
Do you know what's interesting, though? A lot of people didn't agree with me when I put out these videos. Yeah. Some would say I'm a few weeks early. Maybe my timing's a bit off, or I come from the future. Who knows? Who knows, Dermo?
Yeah, you come. It's this day from 2028 or something like that. That's come back and tell us we've done the quadruple or something.
I hope so.
But look, we've been here before. We're Spurs fans, not just because of it. We're Spurs fans because we love the club, and some of us come from passion. We're passionately love the club. It's our second love apart from our families, and we care deeply what happens to our club. So there's a few fans that come from a different direction. Like with me and a few others, we're very neutral along that decision. If he does wrong, we criticise him. If he does well, we praise him. Like the 40 million for Maddison. got that done quickly. We've got Venom in, got that done quickly. So he has done. It's been an average window. He's done some good stuff, but if he gets his 2 centre backs in and a Kessie, then there'd be a brilliant window for me. And I think Kessie's a replacement for Højbjerg, to be fair.
Look, he's going to have to take a serious reduction in wages. The guy's on over 200 grand a week. I mean, Harry Kane, had to fight with Levy to get that practically. Yeah. But look, Dermo, great way to kick us off, sir. Great way to come on. Connor Cunningham, another one, another great talking point, spiraling us into a great conversation. You and Rob are absolutely on the beans today. Absolutely love it. So big up Connor Cunningham. But Dermo, my man, where can people find your brother?
Yeah, they can find me on THFC till I die. Your home at Tottenham, past, present, and a very exciting future, I hope. We're over there. We've got Newsbeat every day at 4. Me and Philip are Mia. Sadly, Queen Ellie has retired for the time being anyway from the channel, but I'm sure she'll be back in the future. And we've got watch-alongs coming up. We've got post-match, pre-match. We've got loads of new stuff coming up. And we even got a new show every Sunday evening. Me, Philip, and Mia are going to do. It's going to be a joint stream where we're going to cover the whole Premier League. And between the three of us, we're going to pick our Premier League team of the week. And we'll have guests on as well. So we'll have you, Jack, on and Dave on as well. And we're going to try to get other fans on from other clubs as well. So Newcastle fan 1 week and Man United fan the next week. So we're trying to expand it more into a more for all fans come on. So we've reached 1,500. So we're on the march for 2K. So we're only 500 away. So please, everyone, get over there, hit the like button, subscription button. I really would appreciate it, and do it here to get the lads to 11K, because I would not be here if it wasn't for these two lads above me. And I'd be forever grateful for everything they've done for me. And the nicest lads on YouTube. So please show them your support. Be respectful to them and be respectful in the chat as well, because these lads are one of the good guys.
Big up, Dermo, everybody. Dermo's link is in the chat. Please get over, smash that subscribe button. And, recently reached 1,500 today. So big congrats, my man. And let's give him a good push on to 200 or 2,000. Sorry. But Dermo, great calling, great way to kick us off today, brother. Great conversation. And we'll speak again soon. Line up them rival fans for me, and I'll be on to slate them.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to get a couple of Arsenal ones on for you, Dave.
Love it. Love it. They don't even have to be Arsenal. Look, I have a reason why every single club has a reason why they hate Tottenham. So I have a reason why I hate them. So you just line them up, Dermo. I'll knock them down. Big yourself.
We're going to try to get a Rangers fan on. That's my aim next season, to do a Celtic Rangers debate show, which could be a bit tasty.
Love it. Love it. Well, Dermo, big yourself up, my man. We'll speak again soon.
Take care.
Legend.
Big up, Dermo. See you, brother.
See you, Dermo. Everybody get over, check out Dermo's channel. Great calling, great discussion. Big yourself up, brother. We are falling a small bit behind here. Tim Man 007, big up, brother. He says, guys, from what I heard, is that we will buy a centre-back, but we are waiting for the Kane money. And also Højbjerg, which I find shocking. We have the money. Tim Man, let me know where you heard that, my man. Let me know where you heard it. Look, for me, when you're looking at it from the outset, right, and you're looking at it from the optics, I mean, it does sort of look like that. But genuinely, even if we sell Harry Kane, I'm still not convinced. They might bring in spend that money and go and bring in another striker, but I'm still not convinced you're going to see them bring in a load of players or line up them centre-backs and bring them in, because like we just had the discussion already, Tin Man, is that the club it's already a very bloated squad, and they're struggling to get players out the door. So I'm still not convinced, even if we do sell Kane, that you're going to see all these transfers rush in. If they still can't shift guys out, you're still going to have the same problems arise. It's absolutely a joke, my man. And look, Højbjerg, look, I hope he stays. I'll be brutally honest. I hope he stays, because if things don't go well, your two names that you've mentioned there, Kane and Højbjerg, they're guys we know we can usually rely on, regardless of the situation, regardless of the manager. They step up, they get out there, and they try and perform for this football club, and they're leaders in that dressing room. And if things don't get off to a good start under Ange, or whatever happens, because we there's no guarantee it's going to, right? The spine of our team is not there yet. Players have had a poor preseason, not enough minutes under their belt. Things could very, very easily go wrong. And if it does, they're the guys that are going to keep you to a certain level in the Premier League. So for me, I don't want to, and plus, we're the third highest generating profit sports club ever. There's no excuses for us not to have the money to go and get these centre-backs. I'm telling you, the problem is You just got guys that just no one wants. Just can't get rid of them. I was hoping I'll be sitting there every evening praying, please, Saudi League, please, I beg you. I'll change his name to Dardinio, Dardinio, Davies Dino. We'll put Dinios on the end of them. Just come in and take them. And they just won't bite. So we're stuck with them.
It just feels like, for me, Tin Man, it should never be the case that Spurs should be waiting for the money for Harry Kane or Højbjerg to fund the center backs. After conceding 60-plus goals in a season, after breaking a record for the most goals ever conceded in the Premier League for Spurs in a long, long time, you would think that they would sort of basically pay whatever it sort of takes, or they would be willing to spend more than what they're used to fix that sort of problem. Because if you don't fix that problem, then you're going to be slipping far down the table. And if they don't realize that, then we're really in for a tough season. Because if we continue to stick with the same defense, we will fall down this table. And that's where it's a bit of a worry sign right now, is they don't seem to, at least from right now, they don't seem to think that maybe the defense is as bad as we probably thought that they would think it is, because it's pretty obvious that it needs to be invested in. And it is sad to think that they feel like they could wait for money to come in to invest in it. They should be investing in it no matter what, not even thinking about Harry Kane, not even thinking about Højbjerg. It's sad, really.
Yeah.
It's
sad, but Tim, man, interesting to know. Let me know where you heard it, brother. Have you got a secret little source there that we should be made aware of, or something like that? But please do let me know, because as much information as we have as possible, the better it is for us. But look, my guessing on it is that we're still going to run into the same problems if you do sell Kane. You might free up one spot, but I'm still not convinced they're going to go and get that business done, if you want me to be brutally honest, Tim, man. But big yourself up, my man. And it's absolutely shocking. Like you said, I think we're all absolutely fuming with the situation right now. And look, even those who wanted to sort of give the squad a chance on preseason, everyone's panicking now. Everyone is panicking, and that's the sign of the time. So the club would want to pull its finger out and actually go and get some business done that we need to get done. Big up, Tim, man, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. Moondog says, I'm depressed before the season even starts. I mean, this is it, and believe me, I've tried the positive thinking. I've tried to, what is it they say? If you manifest things, usually it happens. Giving up on it all, Moondog. I've tried praying, I've tried doing everything right, and it's still not working. So, I just don't know what's going on, my man. It's absolutely depressing. And, I just wish we could maybe get some sort of offer in, and we can weigh it up then, see if it's the right guys for Tottenham, and take it from there, because I can't take much more of going into the seasons with glaring obviously problems and not fixing them. And there's always excuses or reasons why. And I get it from a financial perspective. I get it, right? It's if you're looking at finances only, which a lot of these people do, it's how they make their money. I can understand it, but at some point, the guy confesses to be a fan of the club. At some point, act like that fan. Act like that fan. That's all we're asking. Big up, Moondog.
Big up, Moondog.
We've got Ian Cook. And Moondog, great to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. Ian Cook, big up, Ian. Great to see you as well. He says, where have you been, by the way, Ian? I haven't spoken to you in a long time, my man. He says, good evening, guys. I've been a member for 17 months now. It's a joke that we haven't got any centre-backs in. And you missed my membership milestone super chat.
I was about to bring it up. Ian Cook, that's my bad. You didn't even need to do it. I just sort of had to say hello to Moondog, and then it disappeared, and I was going to bring it up at some stage. But Ian, it's very, very generous of you, my friend, and thank you for 17 months of support, brother. And believe me, I think the fact that everybody and their mother feels like, we're on the same page right now with the center backs, it's probably one of the most unifying factors maybe with this whole fan base. But maybe compared to it being a unifying factor of like sort of positivity or something to be excited about, it's like a unifying factor of frustration for Spurs fans. And believe me, my friend, I don't really see Spurs, at least at this stage and right now, giving any sort of, indication that they're going to fix it. It feels like they haven't approached either the outgoings, the Harry Kane situation, or the center backs with any sort of kind of real, aggression or any sort of real intent. And that's what's worrying. But I apologize for not getting to it sooner, my man. But it did have it up for a second.
Now, big up though, Ian. It's good to see you in. Hopefully you're keeping well. I mean, 17 months, Ian, you'd know how long I've been going on about the centre-backs then, right? And at this point, I even say it to Jack, I'm just sick of going on talking about it because I think I've exposed them in every different way I possibly can to try and highlight the issue, and it just still doesn't get fixed. It's absolutely wrecking my head right now because it's so obvious, it's just so obvious. Look, there's still time, but for me, it's still too late. It's going to have knock-on effects, not letting them build up partnerships. And Ian, I look forward to maybe going head-to-head with... Actually, I can't go head-to-head with you on the quiz because I make them. But on the Fantasy Football League and all the other interactive content over the season, my man. Big yourself up, Ian, and really appreciate the support. And 17 months is absolutely incredible, my man. Incredible. So big up, Ian, and it's great to see you, my man. Absolutely great to see you. And I tell you what, for that length of membership, 17 months, if you feel like doing a Spurs story, brother, let me know. I'd gladly sit down and do one with you where we'll recount your Spurs journey, how you got into it, and your memories throughout the years. Big up, Dunkel's Talk. Dunkel's Talk, new YouTube member, Jacko.
Big up to Dunkel Z. I think he's grabbed a flat cap membership. Big up to you, my friend. And I believe if I know Dunkel Z correctly, he is a big Højbjerg fan. And I imagine he's not liking the news that he's been seeing this summer. And I imagine he's also not been liking a lot of the conversations with people, thinking that Højbjerg is an easy one to get rid of and that Spurs won't really be missing him too much. I'd be probably correct in saying that Dunkel Z would probably argue the opposite. I think he's a big Højbjerg fan. It's good to see him joining the flat cap army. And I hope to see you in the fantasy league as well, Dunkel Z. Big up, my man.
Big up, Dunkel Z. I'd be interested to see your team. But one rule, look, it's an unwritten rule. You don't have to abide by it, but I'd appreciate it. No Arsenal players. You're not allowed to pick Arsenal players, but big up, Dunkel Z. Good to see you in the building. Quick flash through. The disabled team, I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir, and big yourself up. And hopefully your stuff on YouTube is still going good for you, brother. Catman Jess, great to see you in the building. Mick Hermalock, Boston Spurs fan. Big up, my man. Great to see you, says Jack. He must be a disciple of yours, Jack, the Højbjerg cult over there in America. We need the Viking warrior in number 5 leading the way.
Spreading the good word. Everybody's loving it. Good to see you as well, Catman Jess. Hopefully you're keeping well.
Great to see you. Also, big up Shawnee Maddox. Great to see you, my man. Says chuck out the rubbish players if they can find them another new club. And look, this is another thing that annoys me. You're watching other clubs do their business. We should have more urgency than them. We should be more proactive than them because we're trying to hunt them down. And they never have excuses. They just go and get the deals that they need to get done. They ship the players out somehow that they need to ship out. We can't do it. And I'm just absolutely fed up of it. And it concerns me watching people around us, watching likes of Villa, Brighton, who got Europe ahead of us, now starting to do their business. And we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs. Absolute disgrace. And then Mia W, big up Mia W, everybody. No Mia tonight, but she hopefully will be back next week. Hopefully we'll have clarification around the Harry Kane saga as well. But everybody, please do check out Mia's channel. Even though she's not on tonight, I still want to give her a plug because she makes every single fan show. So big up, Mia. Please get over there and check that channel out. And she says, big up, lads. Maybe I need to go and give Levy's head a wobble over the whole centre-back situation. I think it's the amount of players we have is an issue, Jacko.
Yeah, I think it is probably the issue that we're running into right now. But I don't really know if that's really much of an excuse for Levy right now because he could have gone about it more aggressively. He could have either ripped up some contracts. He could have maybe listened to cheaper offers, maybe from certain teams, which then they could probably offer the wages in turn to be able to satisfy some of these players. Just feels like Levy hasn't been really aggressive enough on any of the situations. And I think the outgoings is absolutely one of them. And perhaps that's really actually coming to bite us in the ass more than we realize, because in order for us to bring in the center backs or to bring in whatever player we might need this summer, we have to actually ship off at least a couple in that sort of position, it feels like. And that does mean that Spurs are going to have a bit of a roadblock sort of situation right now. So I'm completely with you. I mean, I forget who it was earlier. It might have been Rob Belcher. I think kind of sort of is on sort of the same lines as well, Mia, that he feels like there is a bit of a roadblock or traffic jam when it comes to sort of Spurs. It's kind of like we're Barcelona, but it's not really having to do with sort of the wage, kind of structure that they have. It's more just the fact that Spurs just have so many players on the books right now that it's impossible for us to probably even bring in any of these guys yet. And it's real frustration
as well. And it's a mess that's just created an even bigger mess. And what I mean by that, right? we sadly didn't replace players adequately from the Poch era. We were starting, then what happened is what the backups from Poch eras are players that were sort of only ever squad fillers. Now they've started coming into main roles because we haven't done the business we needed to do to replace others. And then all of a sudden they haven't fulfilled them boots. So then we bring in players, we bring in managers, and then you sack a manager, bring in another manager, you bring in players for him. So it's constant different ideas. But the only thing that doesn't change are the same backup players that weren't good enough for Poch's team, still not good enough for Tottenham this day. But we add to it. And at some point, we just have to wrestle with the truth, just accept what it is, and just say, okay, when do the excuses stop? And when are we just going to sort the problem out? And what I mean by excuses is, we're going to wait January to the summer to sign 2 centre-backs. Newsflash, still waiting. We're going to bring them on pre-season tour to try and get some value out of them. Still can't sell them. Last season, we didn't bring them on pre-season tour to try and get rid of them. We still can't sell them. And I get that's an issue. But at some point as a club, we have to stop letting that whole thing hold us back, sort it out so that we can actually move forward. And until that happens, we've seen the repercussions of the wannabe Harry Potter going to Chelsea last year with a massive, massive squad going into the season. Right? Look at the big mess it's created. Now, Todd Bowley has been fortunate enough that he's inherited Chelsea players that have actually done stuff for Chelsea. So they have the name behind them, which the Saudi League have been interested in. Our guys don't. And that's the difference. But this mess is holding us back. And if we go into the season with a massive bloated squad and the manager doesn't really trust a lot of these players, it could very easily happen what happened to Chelsea last season, but worse. So, look, let's wait and see, Mia. But big yourself up. Hopefully you keep well. And everyone, get across and subscribe to Spurs Between the Lines. Big up, Mia. Really appreciate the support. Just give me 1 second, Jack. I'll just have to take this. My ma's ringing me. Give me 1 second.
Okay, no worries. I think as well, Ian Cook, I was actually going to get to yours earlier. Big up to you, my friend. And I believe as well, Dunkel Z Torque grabbing the Flat Cap membership. And then Conrad, Spurs 72, member for 21 months as a Flat Cap member, saying, liking your background picture, Dave. He's looking good. He's not feeling good, I imagine, Conrad. And he should be feeling good because he's gotten all the new background. He's sounding a lot better with the microphone. He's basically, improved his whole setup. And yet Spurs haven't done the same thing. Spurs could have improved. That's their setup. They could have improved their foundations like Dave has, but I guess they haven't decided to follow suit. They haven't decided to match him, and it's disappointing. You're seeing more ambition. You're seeing more drive from Davo here to improve his own setup than you are from Spurs, and it's a real disappointment. Big up to you, though, Conrad, for supporting us for 21 months, my man. Absolute legend. Big up to Ian Cook as well, and everybody else. Continue to try to get in your member milestones and all your member super chats, because I will try to keep my best job to keep an eye on them. I'm trying my best thus far, but everybody keep the comments coming in, and as well, do hit the like button if you haven't already. We haven't asked too often for that, so please do hit that like button if you have been enjoying the show. But I do believe we're going to get on to the next guest of this evening, and I believe it's going to be Mr. Dan Davenport. Big up to you, Mia, as well. Hopefully you're keeping well this evening. Dan Davenport, see what he has to say. How you doing, Dan?
I'm fine, thank you.
And Dan, right now we're kind of thinking about which sort of players, are going to be coming in, which sort of players need to go out. But it seems like everybody thinks there's a traffic jam with the outgoings. Which player do you want to see leave first, Dan? Who do you want to see get out the door? Dyer for you. Anybody else? Anybody else in the center back department? Maybe Davies, or are you a Ben Davies fan?
Reguilon has been mentioned for a move to Real Sociedad.
See, I'm kind of a little frustrated with that one, because out of all the players that I feel like could be shipped off this summer, for me, Dan, I feel like Reguilon, it's kind of like one of the ones maybe towards the bottom of the list that I feel like could be moved out. I get it. Like, Spurs have to kind of listen to some of the offers that come in, and Reguilon's future has been a bit unclear. Just sort of feels like there are players that we could be shipping off sooner than Reguilon, at least in my opinion. And he hasn't even done all that bad in preseason, at least in my opinion, either. He hasn't done all that bad by us. So I'd be sad to see him go. I understand if, we need to get some players out the door, but he's not exactly the one that I'd sort of think of, to the second player out the door this summer. Reguilon just seems like, not the right move.
But
I've just heard some news about Dudson Fly, which I think it's going to be used as a swap deal with Lukaku to Lukaku.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. Look, Chelsea, I think they only brought in that guy Jackson. So look, we'll wait and see what happens there. But on Reguilon, and on the departures as well, This is the problem. We're now getting into a situation where some of our better players are the ones garnering interest, and we're going to end up selling them, but we're still going to be left with the crap. And it should be the complete opposite way around. And I do not like the way this summer is going. But look, like I said, we have to sort it out. But Dan, look, Vlahovic, he'd do well for Chelsea, no doubt about it. I mean, if we were to sell Harry Kane, I wouldn't mind bringing him in and giving him a shot. He offers us something a bit different to Richarlison, and that's what we're going to need, in the two strikers, two players that offer different things. Any other questions for us, Dan? I know you like coming on here with loads of questions.
That's right.
There is another striker that Tottenham could go for. It's the Italian striker that plays for Toronto FC.
Jack?
The Italian striker who's playing for, what did they bring in? Insigne? They brought in...
Insigne, yeah.
I feel like Insigne is, he's kind of retired to North America to enjoy a bit of the Italian food, maybe enjoy some of the taxes and everything like that, Dan. But who I'm kind of looking for is maybe Kolo Muani. I feel like Kolo Muani looks like a very good sort of a replacement striker for me, actually. He feels like if we had to get rid of Harry Kane, he'd be different to Harry Kane, but he's kind of like blown up, in the space of like a year and a half. And he did very well. He's probably like the second or third best striker in the Bundesliga last season. Kind of like Kolo Muani. That's the guy who I think about personally. What do you think, Dan? I think you're Vlahovic, right? You want Vlahovic.
Vlahovic is going to Chelsea, I think, now, and Lukaku's going to Juve as part of the deal.
What striker would you like in if we were to sell Harry Kane, Dan? What have you got your eye on? Because I know you sit there and watch football all day. So have you got your eye on?
I don't know. I don't know who is available.
Yeah. Well, even if they're not available, who do you like?
Who else is out there?
Well, what do you think of the guy? What's his name? Why is that the new guy we've been linked with? That young? I don't know. Is that the right guy? I don't know. Look, some people say Ivan Toney, even though we can't get him till January. Ollie Watkins. I know there was an interest there when he was at Brentford. Do we go and look to bring him in from Aston Villa? Look,
Orban,
strikers are short supply.
Orban
That's
today,
why they're going for such big money.
What about someone from Japan? Because Ange knows the Japanese league.
Would you take Furuhashi from Celtic? 30-goal man at Celtic?
Maybe.
Yeah. Look, Ange has worked with him before, and there's no reason why I couldn't see him work with them again for sure. But look, Dan, what else have we got in our bag?
Are you going to do any watch-alongs for the Rugby World Cup? Because I think Ireland could do quite well in the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, I think Ireland have a good shot winning the World Cup, Dan. They're number one ranked in the world, and I, for one, definitely cannot wait for it, brother. Will I do watch-alongs? I'm not so sure, my man. I'm not so sure, Passion for Tottenham and, and football is different to rugby. I like rugby, but I don't love it, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure if I'll do watch-alongs. I think I'll just watch them from home, my man. But who are you up for in the World Cup?
I think Ireland could reach at least the quarterfinals. And
I think we're going to the final, Dan. I think we're going to the final, my man.
Have you been to Lansdowne Road before then, Dave?
Yeah, I was at Lansdowne Road with the owl lad before. He used to pull me out of primary school early and bring me to some Ireland games, which I absolutely loved. And then I hadn't been for quite some time, actually. And then they knocked it down, rebuilt the Aviva. And now, unfortunately, fortunately enough, my sisters and that pulled together at Christmas to get me an Ireland season ticket for the year. So I'm a season ticket holder up at the Aviva, my man.
My godfather met McCarthy a long time ago when Mick McCarthy was a player for I think for
the last good manager we had, the last good manager that actually really sort of done something with Ireland,
Yeah,
Evan Ferguson too. Maybe we could think about some Irishmen since we are thinking about replacement strikers as well. Evan Ferguson, he could be a big fee though type of player because he's so talented. I feel like, Dan, he could be 40 million, 50 million. He could be a big fee.
Moses Caicedo has been linked to Chelsea as well from Brighton.
He's been linked for quite some time. Chelsea just need to stump up the cash on that one. Dan. But Jack, Evan Ferguson's a really good option. For me, I look at him. There's a lot of similarities to Harry Kane. Obviously, doesn't have the experience under his belt that Harry Kane has, but he could definitely get close to the ability Harry Kane is at for sure. So,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. But Dan, any other questions for us before we let you go, my man?
I have a foster family in San Jose in California area.
Nice.
That's very nice. Are you making them Spurs fans by chance? Are you trying to convince them?
They don't follow sports that really.
Nah, you need to sit them down in front of the TV and watch a Spurs game, my man. That'll change.
They gave me a 49ers cap.
Nice.
Ooh, you could talk to them maybe to buy the club then, Dan. Maybe you could see if the 49ers, could take some investment in the club.
The 49ers own Leeds United now.
Oh, no. Maybe they could switch over. Maybe they could switch over. Big up, Dan, though.
The wrong lily whites.
Hopefully you convince them sometime soon to get into the football and then convince them to become the Spurs fans as well.
Yeah. But big up, Dan, my man. Really appreciate you calling in, brother. And good to see you.
Okay.
Have a good evening, Dan.
See you, my man. See you, Dan. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Everyone, big up, Dan. Give him a lot of love in the comments. What a guy. What an absolute guy. I love that guy. I love him. Big up.
Big up Shikari.
Exactly.
Big up
Shikari telling me he's a star. That's what I'm talking about. Here we go. Steve D. That's the love. That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely love it. You guys are absolutely top class. Top class. Dunker's Talk says, question for Dave. If we keep Perisic as a left wing, would you be okay with selling Kane, get 2 new quality centre-backs and not get any more forward players? Do you know what, on that Dunker's Talk? For me, I wouldn't. I get the centre-backs would be an improvement. And look, if you can get that defence going, arguably you could get... You're still going to feel the loss of Harry Kane, but you might get away with it, or you might not feel the same sort of impact. However, Richarlison has only ever hit 12 goals in a Premier League season as his most. He's no proof he's going to get any more than that. Sonny usually averages about 14, 15, which he was scoring with Harry Kane in the team anyway. And we scored most goals from set pieces last year from corner kicks, etc., than what we have ever done in a Premier League season. So again, are you going to get much more from that? Has there ever been any confirmation about Gianni Vio being kept around? There was no confirmation on that, so we don't know whether we still have the set-piece specialist going into this season. You've got Vicario settling in goals. You don't have centre-backs in there right now. Midfield is changing an awful lot. And if you lose Kane, that's the whole spine of your team. Once that's in trouble, you're in massive, massive trouble. You need leaders throughout that. And for me, like I said, if this conversation, even on Højbjerg, was a year later, and had proof that the defense was good, solid, everything else, and other people were chipping in all over the shot with goals, I'd say, okay, maybe it's time. But right now is the wrong time for this club to catch in on someone like Harry Kane. Everyone goes, we don't need a 30-goal striker. Postecoglou didn't need it at Celtic. Okay, that's if you want to ignore that Furuhashi he scored 30 goals for them. But at the end of the day, he was the best striker in the SPL, and he scored 30 goals. So Ange Postecoglou does need that goal scorer in that team that provides goals on a regular basis, because to take that statement down, he got rid of Giakoumakis, the guy who didn't average barely score you 20 goals a season. And they got rid of him and brought in Furuhashi, who brings in 30 goals a season. So if we sell Kane, he is going to need a striker that's going to bag you goals on a consistent basis.
He can't downgrade too much. Yeah, he can't downgrade too much. He has to bring in still top quality. But I also agree with what Dave said in the very beginning there, Dunkel Z, where Spurs have a better chance of not feeling as much of the impact of Harry Kane's absence if they brought in 2 top quality center backs, because then they at least have more of a foundation to not concede as many goals as they do right now. If we ended up conceding, let's say, the amount of goals that a team like Newcastle sort of did last season, because Newcastle actually, towards maybe the end of the season, they started scoring more goals, but they were actually were kind of surviving just off of their defense and how good they were at kind of keeping clean sheets. So if Spurs ended up kind of being that sort of team in some capacity, I think we could perhaps feel the absence of Harry Kane a bit less. But yeah, it's just so many big ifs. And I think also even replacing Harry Kane is just so many big ifs. So many ifs go into that.
Yeah. A lot of ifs. There's too much uncertainty going into this season. Look, I'm not sitting here saying I'm right. I could be wrong. Could go into the season, we might survive, or we probably will survive. But for me, I just think with Harry Kane, I know it's a big risk, but you know, if you keep him, there's at least some insurances, some guarantees. If you didn't have him last season, we would have finished worse off than what we did. You know, so for me, it's sort of like keeping Harry Kane guarantees you a certain level of league finish. So for me, I just think we give Ange Postecoglou more headaches getting rid of the guy than we do keeping him, if you want me to be brutally honest. But big up Dunkel's Torque. Del Support 14. Your Become a Member video was very helpful with explaining update member benefits, but no one knows the video exists. Suggest it to be moved to main section, some more engagement and
probably
views.
Right.
Jack,
you're probably right, Del Support. We just kind of didn't want to make it too public or just sort of kind of like, you know, blow up your feed or anything like that. And also we just feel like a lot of people have already supported us a lot, right? It was that sort of type of video, and you know, where we wanted to just sort of kind of explain all the new benefits and all the new sort of kind of improvements that we made for those that have ever been interested and, you know, grabbing the membership. But as well, at the same time, we just didn't want to sort of ram it down your throats either, you know, just saying like to go grab it. You know, it's your choice. It's up to you whether you want to support the channel in an extra way. I think plenty of you and all of you already support the channel in such an incredible way. And we really are very thankful for how you already do support us. But it was sort of like an explainer video. We did actually make an extra video, Del Support, just sort of as another sort of explanation that was a slightly different to the one that you might have watched. So actually that just gives me a bit of encouragement that maybe we should have released that, because I actually told Dave that maybe we shouldn't release that one, that maybe now I'm actually, you know, regretting that, because maybe that could have helped out actually, you know, push that out a bit more. So thanks for letting us know. That's very nice actually of you, my friend. You could have even just put that in a comment. That's really, really nice of you. That's really nice of you, Del Support. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Big yourself up, my man. You're too kind. Look, you know, again, we really appreciate it. Me and Jack are amateurs at this, you know. We don't know anything about this. We came into this in the unknown, and it's you know, it's good to hear people's advice and that along the way, and we're definitely going to take it on board. And I think we'll just do that tomorrow, my man. So big yourself up.
Thank you.
And really appreciate it. Big yourself up. That was an oversight on our behalf, and really appreciate it, brother. Big yourself up. And anyone else out there, anything you think me and Jack are doing wrong and changes you think we should make, feel free to suggest. But big up that support. Too kind. Too kind. Where are we? Just quickly, William McKenzie, I wanted to say hi to this guy as well. Big yourself up. Great to see you in the building. How's down? New Zealand, I believe, if I'm correct. New Zealand. Hopefully it's keeping well. He says Reggie could work in the high line defense. He's quick enough to drop back and relieve pressure. Just a worry at the back post. Both fullbacks are a worry if Reguilon and Porro play at that. They've both shown already that they're losing their man at the back post over both games. I think it was Porro against the Lion City Sailors. I think it was Reguilon against West Ham. So not good. It needs to be sorted. Big up Boston Spurs fan. Jackie wants help. He says, I suppose that we know now why Levy didn't support Conte, but why did we buy Porro when it's likely he would not fit any other system?
This might sound a bit confusing, but even though Pedro Porro did sort of fit the Antonio Conte system, I have a sneaky suspicion he was also a bit of a club signing. Pedro Porro. I have a feeling that they had been keeping tabs on him for some time. We had sort of been linked with him very randomly. I remember one time during kind of the Antonio Conte era, or at least even when, I forget when it was, but when he was kind of just sort of making inroads at Sporting, I think Spurs have been kind of slightly linked with him or connected to him. So it could be the case that Spurs kind of did their research, did their due diligence with Porro, and sort of just feel like he's good enough for whatever manager comes through the door. And I have a feeling he was signed for Antonio Conte, but then at the same time was also sort of signed regardless of Antonio Conte. And I hope that's the case, that he wasn't just some sort of last minute, you know, kind of break the bank sort of signing just to maybe keep him slightly happy, because then that would have just been a bit of a mistake. But at the same time, I actually really like Pedro Porro. For me, Boston Spurs fan, I really like him.
Look, my guessing is they asked Conte what you need in January. He said centre back and right wing back. They went and got right wing back and get centre back. That's what my guessing is, you know, because we were very quick to be told before the January transfer window shut last year. I think it was Alistair Gold put out an article and he said, look, Tottenham won't be buying centre backs this January. Don't expect it. We'll be getting two in the summer. So that's why I think we ended up with someone like a Porro, because I think they wanted a back Conte, but didn't want to obviously do it fully because the commitment wasn't there, because the talks broke down before that transfer window. So it's just one big mess, absolutely one big mess. But big yourself up. And also Sean Brown, love the new look, Dave. Can't get over the dramas drabness of this summer signings. Real poor work behind the scenes. Keep up the good work, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Sean. Look, you know what? Isolation in itself. Carry, I think, will come a good sign. Madison, I think, a good piece of business there. And Manor Solomon, I
like
think,
all the signings we have made.
Yeah, but the difference is it's not following up with other areas that we need as well. And that's the problem. And that's what ultimately drags down this window. That's what ultimately why people feel this summer is bad. And like you're saying here, Sean Brown, why people are saying, the drabness of the summer signings, because it's just not enough. We needed a goalkeeper. We needed a cam. We needed someone else out on the wings. But we also need centre-backs, and that's just what's killing us, man. And that's why we're thinking like this. But big up, Sean Brown, absolute legend, my man. Good to see you in the building. But look, Jacko, we will crack on, my man. Let's we got Michael on next. Let's get him on. Let's hear what he has to say. Big up, Michael. How you keeping, my man?
So, boys, I'm fine. Yeah. Well,
it's really great humor considering there's no transfer incomings or outgoings.
Yeah, fine myself with my own life, right? But Spurs are fucking. Oh Jesus! Let's get started on it because it's just depressing, boys.
Well, you've had some things good going on in your life, Michael, to be able to distract yourself from Spurs not doing anything. And congratulations, by the way, on defending your thesis and everything from me to you.
Thank you, really appreciate it.
But do you want to start with this defense then? I mean, or do you want to start with the outgoings? Maybe let's start with the outgoings because that's what a lot of people have been touching on. I think Mia brought it up, Rob Belcher brought it up, that part of the reason Spurs aren't making any moves right now is because they haven't shipped out anybody. There's a traffic jam. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's. I honestly I kind of get the point of the club saying that they need to first get rid of some players to bring in some players, but for me it's bullshit. Don't get me wrong, it always comes to the same thing, which is they just don't want to take risks. Because if you first bring in a player before selling a player, then you might run into a situation where you are stuck with a guy like we find it so hard to get rid of some players, right? And it's just, for me, it would take some balls from our ownership to actually say, screw this, we have to fix that team, right? It would take some balls to rip some contracts, to get rid of some players on the cheap, right? Instead, I feel like we are just trying to do everything the safe way, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's I actually think that if we get rid of Sanchez, for example, then maybe most likely for me one of the center backs will come in, right? But it always has to be 1-for-1. It's never first we bring in a guy, then we will worry about getting rid later, right? It's the solution is there, right? If you bring in a player and you can't sell one of your guys, right, then you have to rip the contract up. But it's just we don't want to take a loss, even though we are actually one of the best clubs to do it, right? Because we are so financially secure. It's baffling for me, but it's just the way that we go about things, right? It's idiotic for me, because if anyone anyone making decisions at this club had the good of this team in mind, but the footballing good, right? They had some priority on not being embarrassing, basically. Then they would fix up and do what I just said, right? Instead, they will do it the safe way, always the safe way, always, trying to do it the simplest, the most secure way. It's infuriating, boys.
It is. It's always financial as well. The club are just hanging out, to try and get some resale value for these guys. But we do it every single window, and every new window that comes around, it's a reset for them. Oh, well, let's just give them a chance to see if they can get them out. And it's when are we just going to come to the realization we're not? They're holding up the transfer business, and at some point we got to stop making these excuses and demand that they act on it. Because every window comes around, it's the same thing. Even this season, right? We all know the problem with the defense last season. Me and Jack have been very vocal that we didn't want to see certain players go on the preseason tour. Then they go on the preseason tour. Everyone goes, look, if Ange wants, give him a chance. Of course Ange doesn't want to. He's told him he wants centre-backs. He's got no option. We haven't brought anyone else in. And now what happens then? It delays us selling them because we get back from preseason tour. We're 2 weeks out from the season. They're still here. And I'm absolutely fed up with it. And we can't keep doing this every window. And the reason why it also happens is because we changed the manager. And then all of a sudden, well, if the manager wants to have a look at them, and it's like, we got to take that out their hands at some point and just say, look, regardless whether you want to keep a Dyer around, he's going to cost you your job in 6 months' time. We're letting go of him. It has to happen.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a similar thing that we are talking about before we went on tour. I think I said something along the lines that there should be somebody there who would tell Ange, listen, you don't have to look at those guys. We know they are not good enough. We are taking care of this, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that he has to like evaluate 35 players if we know that 10 of them are not good enough, right? We see, like, we have past experience, right? We have video evidence of them like screwing up in games. It should be painfully obvious that some of those guys should never be given more chances, right? Unfortunately, it's not how we operated, right? And it's also like it's so infuriating also because I think we also spoke about this, David, right? I think we are not far off a really good squad, right? I think I've spoken with you boys plenty of times. I think a healthy squad is when you have two like players that can do the job per position, right? So you have like two goalkeepers, one of them is the main one, etc. 4 center backs, 4 full backs, 6 midfielders and 6 forwards, right? And this equates to 22 players. It's even less than you have to like that you can register, right? But that's a healthy squad, and I would honestly say we are like 3 to 4 signings away from that type of squad, right? And another benefit of like fulfilling that type of assignment is that you also like then when you have 22 players that are all good enough in some shape or form to play, right? Then when the next window comes and, for example, 2 of them leave, you only have to substitute 2, right?
Yeah.
Instead, it's the same thing that Dermo said, right? We are just kicking the can down the road, right? I think that's the saying in English, right? It's so infuriating because we know that the center back position is an issue, right? But it doesn't seem we'll fix it, right? As I said, we need 4 capable center backs. Right now we have 1.5, let's say, if you really want to like stretch it and include Davies in, right? If you really, really want to stretch it.
Half is a bit much. I'll take a quarter, but anyway.
Yeah, it's or 1.25, right? The point is that if we were acting like a proper club, we should be signing 2 or 3 center backs this season, right? Like, look, my brother supports Chelsea, right? And they had Fofana got injured.
They bought a new set of center backs again this summer. I mean, they did last summer.
Fofana, they have like 5 capable center backs. Unfortunately for them, 2 or 3 are injured, right? So what did they do? They bought another one, right? It's not. There is no issue there. Like they bought Disasi from Monaco for like 45 million, and we are fucking about with Van de Ven for 30. It's so infuriating because I honestly think with us not being in Europe, with how Ange wants to set us up, with what talent we have in the squad, right? I think we are seriously not far away from like stabilizing this club, right? Stabilizing footballing wise. And I'm not saying we are going to qualify for the Champions League in the upcoming season, right? But for me, finishing like 6th, but being stable, being secure at the back, being dangerous in attack, that's what I want to see, right? But unfortunately, it looks like we'll probably sign like 1 center back and maybe sell Kane and buy a shitty replacement. So we'll have even more issues next window. Maybe we'll fix one of them in a year. Let's say we'll buy, 2 center backs in next summer. But Sonny will be probably will be leaving. Then the left winger position will be open, right? That will be another issue. And after we fill the Sonny boots, for example, someone else will, they will buy Romero or Porro off us, right? And we will have to fix that issue. And it's always kicking the can down the road. Never have I ever seen a Spurs squad that is actually filled to the that requirement of 22 solid players field, right? It's so infuriating. It's like,
I think that's why a lot of people, when it comes to selling some of their better players, that's where they sort of feel about it, right, Michael? Where people felt like, I'd sell Harry Kane if I felt more confident about other areas of the pitch, right? Or, I'd sell, let's say a Højbjerg or a Sonny, if I felt more comfortable about, there being, players that could step up, or there being other areas of the pitch that Spurs were actually, pretty solidified in, that you could actually address the problem. But Spurs are in like a situation where this summer where they had outgoings that they needed to make, they had a lot of incomings that they needed to make, and then as well they needed to provide some sense of clarity on the Harry Kane situation, and they haven't really done any of it. And that's where it is, I think, the most confusing, is that they've actually done, like, maybe it was Dave or someone mentioned before, they've kind of done a bunch of other random, kind of business that did need to happen. Like James Maddison absolutely need to happen. I'm delighted with that signing. Vicario absolutely needed to happen. Solomon did need to happen. But you're sort of left scratching your head. Like, some of the most obvious things, though, this summer that everybody spoke about before even the preseason kicked off haven't happened. So why is it that Spurs have kind of maybe led, they've left the difficult stuff for the end? And are they even going to get it done is another question, right? Some of this difficult stuff.
I wish I knew why it's that way, because, like, again, for me, it's just not logical behavior, right? It's, for me, a logical thing would be to buy center backs first. And listen, I am happy with Maddison, with Vicario, with Solomon. I am happy with our incoming so far, right? Outgoings, okay, like maybe they will deal with it later, right? But there is and I'm saying this on different streams or in comments. I'm trying to like get this message through so that people on panel say it, right? I'm sorry for swearing, but there is so much fucking talent in Europe in defense. Like in terms of center back, so much like potential.
We don't need to be married to these two options of end to end.
Yeah, and so much cheap potential that you can, from clubs that when you approach them and you put 20 million euros on table, they will kiss your hand, because that's more than the club is worth sometimes. Like that's how stupid it is, right? And it's so infuriating, because I really like Van de Ven, I really like Tapsoba. I think that those are perfect suits for Ange system, right? I think we spoke about it, David. I really like that we are looking at German market, right? In terms of center backs, because they play similar styles to Ange, right? But if you can't get both of these guys through for one reason or another, because, I don't know, Leverkusen don't want to sell and want to skin you, and Wolfsburg want a loan back, otherwise they won't sell, right? Let's assume that this is the issue, right? Then go somewhere else, buy a center back from Salzburg, buy a center back from Leipzig, buy a center back from, I don't know, Dinamo Zagreb, Lens, Lorient, Olympique Lyon, Sevilla, I don't know, Real Sociedad, whichever one of those clubs, who are nowhere near as financially stable as us, and they need money, right? We all know that the Liga, that Ligue 1, they all need money, right? And we have money. It's so, because like if we weren't like a well prospering club, we weren't financially stable, then I could just forgive them for not being like so open with spending money, right? But right now it's not logical, because we know we have money, right? And like putting out those messages that we need to sell Kane to bring in center backs, that's bullshit. Like, sorry, I have to caveat it, because like I would be open to selling Kane if we feel like four gaping holes that we have in this squad, right?
Yeah,
I would be open to it, which I know is a contradictory thing to what I just said, right? But if the Kane sale needs to happen for us to buy 2 center backs and a center defensive mid, then I could stomach it, right? I would be furious, I would be sad, but I could stomach it, right? But the fact of the matter is that we are actually capable of buying those center backs and the center defensive mid without selling Kane, right? That's the thing that makes me furious. Sorry, but I went on a rant, but
no, look, I absolutely agree with you. I'm sick of the money excuses. Oh, we have to sell this to do that bullshit. Since we moved into the stadium, they brought out Spurs play. They're bringing boxing, NFL, rugby league, concerts. They brought the Skywalk. They brought what else is it? There's we done the stadium tour, Jack. There's mad lounges where people are paying mad money that they weren't able to do at White Hart Lane. This, that, and the other. They brought in and they've upped the prices of the tickets this season to make up for the ticket sales that they're going to lose in Europe. This, that, and the other. So there's no excuses for money, and I don't want to hear it anymore, because anytime you do, the club come out with the next team, rising this, rising that, and it's like, for what? For what? Usually when you raise prices, all that's doing is rising expectations. So, and then they sit there and they wonder where all the hate comes from around the ownership. And it's like, if you're going to raise the prices, that brings the expectations. You're not meeting them. In fact, you're falling well short of them. And that's the issue. It's an absolute joke, especially after last season we had 3 managers in the dugout and they still had the cheek to up the prices. And now sit here and tell us this summer, oh, by the way, we might have to sell Harry Kane to do more business. Absolute horseshit. I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
I've had an absolute enough of it. But Michael, because honestly, I'm going to have a heart attack if I keep talking about that crap because it drives me. I've been on it for 3.5 years now. Let's get on to Duncan's Talk Super Chat. Do we need a new right winger if we play Porro as a fullback?
Or
is Gil Messi the solution? Looks happy. Jack on the knee looks happy.
I'm not really sure if he's a solution. You boys know my stance on Hugh, right? I think my patience with him is kind of running out, and I get that's not the guy's issue, right? It's not because of him; it's because of how he was treated, but also because of his injuries, his unavailability when we need him, actually, right? So if Ange gets a look at him and says, "Listen, boy, you are my right wing, solution as a backup to Kulusevski, I will play you." I'm all for supporting Ange in whatever way we want. Whatever decision he makes, I will support it, right? But which leads me to an answer. I don't think we necessarily need a right winger, right? I think our other players have enough of a flexibility so that they can cover Kulusevski if need be, right? If he gets injured, then Solomon can play on the right. At least to a decent level, right? I'm not saying they are going to be as good as Kulusevski, although that being good, Kulusevski being good recently has sparked a lot of discussion, right? But yeah, in principle, right? I think Solomon can play there. Even Sonny could play there if you really had to play him. Richarlison played there last season, and Hill played there if we needed him to, right? So I don't think we necessarily need another right winger. And with the fullback thing, I know people are scared shitless because of Porro defensively and how he played in those 2 matches that we had, right? And I know it's it's a tough topic, but I would actually give the guy a chance. I just hope that we balance the defense well enough, right? Because let's be honest.
Is Porro being too much of a liability just quickly at fullback? Do you think he could get exposed for the rest of the season, or do you think he could end up by the end of the season just being actually not as big of a problem as we thought?
I think his defending will always be a bit of a problem. I don't think he will be this world class right back, defensive mastermind, whatever, right? But I think, again, if we fix the fucking center back position, then I don't think it would be as much of an issue, right? But the issue is we don't have a leader in the back line. We have one center back that knows what the hell is going on around him. Others are just pine cones that they are just standing there being useless, right? And no one is talking to each other, even though half of them speak Spanish. By the way, that's also a good point, right? Because Porro, Romero, Dyer apparently, and Regi, they all speak Spanish. They should be communicating with each other and telling each other, listen, you have to cover there. Language barrier is not an argument here, right?
We don't need Eric Dyer to tell them where to stand, in this situation. You're right.
Even if you wanted to make that argument, it's not an argument because they all speak the same language, right? It's so infuriating. Again, and you see, David, it's whatever question you ask about this fucking crap, it's always comes back to this defense. It's listen, if you ask me, Michael,
do you know why though, Michael? Do you know why, right? Do you know why? We've changed manager umpteen times, which means we've changed coach and personnel umpteen times. We've even changed what we do at board level. We've even brought on the fan advisory board. We've changed DOF. We've changed scouts. What we haven't changed is centre backs. And until that gets sorted, this club is going to be in the doldrums. And they just don't understand it. They've changed absolutely everything else over the last 4 years, and they're still getting the same results, but they haven't changed the defence. And they wonder why this shit is happening. It's absolutely mind-boggling. But just quickly on Dunkel's talk, super chat about Porro being Do we need a right winger? I would say no. Look, for me, and I've always stressed this, I get why we brought in Solomon and I get why we brought in James Maddison, right? I get it. But even without them, scoring goals at Tottenham was not a problem. It never has been. We always score goals at Tottenham. Even when Tottenham were finishing mid-table, we still scored a lot of goals. The problem is we couldn't keep them out. And it's sort of like, that's why, like, when Michael was saying, it should have been the first team done this summer, bringing in defenders. That defense is one that needs to gel. I'd argue someone like Porro and Reguilon, I think their defending gets better if you've got a leader there talking to them, telling them where to be, telling them to hold their run, when to make their run. That's what leaders do, especially across that back line. That's why great defenses are so organized, because that one person there who everyone knows and obviously puts in good performances to go with it, or you wouldn't listen to him. And then he instructs everybody. He tightens that back line up. We don't have that. So for me, look, keep Porro right back, put Gil Messi at right wing. I think the guy, he's pressing, he just wants to go and get the ball. He'll definitely be a very impactful off the bench player to start off with under Ange Postecoglou. So for me, I'm happy with Porro at right back. It's not an issue. Yeah. Get in a leader, that defense improves. Simple as that, the whole lot of them.
I agree with kind of what Michael had said, Dunkel Z, where I think he will inevitably could cost you some goals here and there, because he's not the most kind of, how would you put it? It's not his forte. It's not exactly where his strengths lie. Even if he does improve dramatically, you could see him having a lapse of concentration or just getting beat at the back post here and there. But I do kind of agree with what you said later, is that if we did have a bit more solidity with whoever plays at left back, and also if we did, I know we're repeating ourselves, but if we did actually have a partner for Romero that could give Romero some confidence, maybe we would be able to have Pedro Porro bomb forward and bring what he can do. Because the reason you keep Pedro Porro on the pitch is because of that delivery. His delivery is probably better than anybody's in the team. It's better than most players in the league, to be fair. And his sort of expertise is kind of creating for others in those wide areas. And it's not just crosses. I mean, last season, we saw some of those balls that he played over the top to like Sonny or to Kane. Like, he does have exceptional sort of kind of technical ability to be able to create for others from kind of most positions on the pitch. It's just that, yeah, he can kind of cost you a goal if kind of found in, a defensive situation where he's going to be asked, a lot to do. But I don't know. I think Porro will be fine. I personally think he can play right wing just because he's scored some goals for us in that position. And he's shown that he's actually capable of finishing with both feet, like, as well. And I feel like if you can finish with both feet and you can finish in kind of the way that he has, why not play right wing, even though he is more of a right wing back? I think he could do it, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Pick up Dunkel Z. Pick up.
Yeah, it's like, for me, boys, it's with Udogie and Porro, right? With both of them, no matter like which pairing you want to play, there is always a way to facilitate an attacking fullback, even if you want to have two of them, right?
Yeah.
If you want to have two attacking fullbacks, then your center defensive mid has to drop in and form a free, right? If you want to have the right-sided attacking fullback, then the left-sided has to tuck in and form a free, right? It's the same thing the other way around. There is always a way to do it, right? You will be, like, listen, with attacking fullbacks, you always have to take into consideration that you will be exposed defensively, right? Because if you want to play a guy that basically is a winger or a central defensive mid or a central mid, but he just starts on the right side of the defense, right? It's the same thing how Liverpool is being exposed sometimes on the right back position with Trent, right? Trent is way better than any of the fullbacks that we have in our club, but still the guy is not good at defending, right? And Klopp, throughout different means, has been covering for his lack of defensive skills, right? When Henderson and Fabinho were younger, they were covering for him, right? They even tried the whole like shifting the backline thing when Robertson was playing more tucked in, right? There are ways to fix this, right? But if you want to like try to cover for Porro with fucking Dyer and Davies, sorry for swearing again, but it's not going to work, right? It's just simply it's not going to work if you have like Romero, who is a complete lunatic, Dyer, who is slower than me, and I'm like I'm not overweight, but that you get the point. Like, you know, I'm slow as fuck. I'm slow as fuck. I'm not like, well built or whatever, and I could probably like run as fast as Dyer, right? And it just won't work with this person. on the other hand, if we had Van de Ven, Tapsoba, and let's say a left back who is really like well suited for defensive purposes, or we had Højbjerg, but only give him the defensive duties, right? Højbjerg, you stay back, you just recycle the ball, you stay back, you form a back three. I think in that case it could work, right? But if that's not the case, then we'll probably have to play Royal as right back and do the left attacking fullback, right, with Udogie, because I think that would be like Royal and Udogie would be a more solid like fullback partnership than Region.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
By the way, which is sad as fuck, by the way, because I think Porro is way more useful to the team than Royal. Royal actually is proving himself to be quite solid, right? But I think like Porro this guy is deadly when it comes to attacking, right? But we just simply are not capable of covering for him, right? That this team is not capable of providing like the tools for this guy to do his amazing job, because I think he has bags of talent. When going forward.
You sort of think last point on like Pedro Porro, but I do feel like Dave had some frustrations with a lack of sort of delivery from the wide areas from the wingers. You know, how the wingers are supposed to kind of provide more crosses, you know, from time to time for those strikers, whether it be Richarlison or Kane. And this is a whole different conversation for next time, Michael, but Kulusevski, if he kind of continues to frustrate and he kind of continues to maybe not produce the goods, you would think about Porro as sort of the alternative, and a very different alternative, because he's not left-footed, has a bit more of that willingness to create for others than maybe think for himself, you know, with like a shot on goal and things like that. So he would be a very interesting alternative, I think, to
100%.
Whereas like Brian Hill would be maybe similar to a Kulusevski, and a Pedro Porro would be very different.
Yeah, like me and Michael, we had this conversation after the match against the Lion City Sailors that, you know, if Kane does stay, Kulu and Son might have to swap over wings, you know, because when you look in the second half, Perisic is left-footed on the left side, Solomon right-footed on the right side. The crosses come in, Richarlison gets more chances. When you got Kulu and Son constantly cutting inside, it slows things down, and Kane then has to adjust runs. He's not getting them balls into the box, etc. So look, there's definitely another whole entire conversation to have there for sure. So Michael, keep an eye on your phone. We'll be in contact, and we'll speak to you again soon, brother.
Yeah. Boys, I have to ask you, is he going or is he staying?
Dave?
Not what you want, what you think will happen.
Yeah, Dave, what's
I've said it all along. I think he's staying. You know, all summer long, I've heard he's going here, there, and everywhere. I think they're not short of linking him from a trip on the rocket to the moon. But, you know, he's still here, so...
Every morning, Michael, I actually think he's leaving. Every morning I wake up, it feels like he's going to be leaving. Every evening, I think he's staying. So by the end of this evening, I think he's staying. When I wake up tomorrow, I'll probably be tweeting, you know, Harry Kane, you know, goodbye, my lover, goodbye, my friend. So that's my answer. I do think, actually, at this moment in time, hate to say it, I do think he is probably more likely leaving than staying.
Yeah, like me and my friend who is a Spurs fan, we've been like joking around, because you know the 5 stages of grief or however it's called, right? And we are wondering at which like level we are, and he was at first level, which was rejection or however it's called, right? And I'm at acceptance level. Whatever happens, listen, like, if he has to go, he has to go, right? Yeah, but it's so fucking sad to say, as we talked about it, David, like we should be talking about the ways to keep the guy, not about like how much we want to sell him for. It's so sad.
Spot on. And look, it's what we were promised when the new stadium was brought about, you know, to bring the additional revenue streams, which can help us go after the top players in the market, but also keep our top players. And we've done neither of them. But again, that's another conversation we'll probably stumble upon before the season starts. But Michael, great guest as always. Great conversation as always, my man. I'm actually not around. I'm in London at my nanny's birthday the weekend in Shakhtar game, doing stuff for my nanny and stuff. But I'll see what the story is about the post-match show. I'll ask Jacob if he can host it or something like that. And so hopefully if you're around, you can get on and help him out.
Yeah. Good man. Okay.
See you soon, Michael. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
See you soon, Michael. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Everybody, give Michael a lot of love in the comments. Great guest, you know, and he was absolutely brilliant on the post-match show there last week with myself and Jacob. We had great discussion, you know, great going into tactics and everything. It was absolutely brilliant. That's Michael's strong point for sure. But look, we better keep this moving. I believe next we have Rufus.
I think it's
Is he
KPV,
there?
actually. I misspoke,
Oh,
Dave. I think it's KPV.
okay.
Then it's Rufus.
KPV.
Then it's Ellie. Then
KPV,
it's
then Rufus.
Tyler.
Okay. Grand job. Is he in? Yes, he is. What's he called today? Main event. Big up main event. How are you, my man?
I'm good, man. Okay.
Good to see a smile on your face this week, though. Why are you so happy, KPV?
Yeah, I'm fine. Finally got a win to end the pre-season with Richie scoring a hat-trick, even though he got 2 offside goals, as he always does.
Yeah. Could have had 5 goals. How much?
Yeah,
did you
could
do
have had
the
5,
picnic
man.
celebration?
Yeah, like, if Harry Clase does leave, like, can he be the replacement? The answer is no. Like, when Kane was out injured on the pitch, Son played there and he was scoring goals. Llorente was like, yeah, so Son can play there, but that's
Not
not
Richie, you don't think?
Huh?
You think
Not
Sonny
Richie.
should? You think Sonny should play up top instead of Richarlison if Kane were to go?
Yeah, man. Like, Sonny done it under Poch when Kane was out injured on a season we reached the Champions League final. And yeah, so if Kane does leave, then maybe Son can play there. But no, I think we need another striker if Richie was.
Who would you
getting
have your eye
injured.
on that KPV? Yeah, what strikers across Europe do you think Spurs should go for?
I'm trying to think who's available. Like, who would be?
Doesn't matter, even if they're not available. Who would you like to see Spurs go for?
You got
I'd
Daniel Levy's
say-
personal checkbook.
In Levy's checkbook, eh? Like, I think there's only one option or two. I'd pick Neymar because I know Emerson and Richie play them in the Brazil team. So, yeah, bring Neymar to the club, man. Like,
KPV, we could barely get Neil John to sign a new contract, let alone Neymar.
who?
We could barely get Neil John or Niall John to sign a new contract, let alone getting Neymar in here.
Nah, I pick Neymar, man. Like, he's not worked out well at PSG, and he did play for Barcelona as well for a couple of seasons.
True.
And yeah, PSG as well for a long time. And so Neymar I'd choose, but I'd go, as you said, I'd go for Tony from Brentford. Like, I know we can't get him till Jan because that's when his ban is like going to be finished. So
is he the closest to Kane, do you think, like in terms of play style? KPV, is Tony the closest to Kane? Who's like the closest player in terms of play style?
What? No, he isn't, Stuart. No, he isn't a Spurs fan. Are you dumb? He's actually Man United.
I think his Owlad was a Spurs fan, KPV. His Owlad was a Spurs fan. Beckham's Owlad. And he trained with Tottenham at some point, Beckham did, before he moved somewhere. At some point. He does have connections to Spurs. He does.
Yeah, like Dennis Bergkamp's a Spurs fan. And yeah, like Emo Adekanu is a Spurs fan as well. So Adele, we've got Finn Balor, Irish. He's a Spurs fan. John Cena. But I want to say rest in peace to Sinead O'Connor, Irish-born female singer. Rest easy.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
She was great. Great musician.
Great singer. Absolute legend. But I'd go...
Do you think Jay-Z is a Spurs fan?
Oh, Beckham's granddad. Cheers, Mia.
Do you think Jay-Z is a Spurs fan, KPV? Apparently Jay-Z might be buying up Spurs if Joe Lewis gets thrown in.
Yeah, Tom Holland, Stephen. You're on about Tom Holland, yeah. McIntyre, Michael McIntyre.
Adele, she's a Spurs fan.
Yeah, Adele. Jay-Z is a gooner.
Jay-Z, yeah.
He wants to buy Tottenham.
But he wants to buy Spurs. Oh, no.
He wants to buy Tottenham.
He'll have 100 problems. Tottenham will be the biggest one.
Yeah, like Jay-Z want to buy Tottenham, he does. Then Why not? We need a new takeover. I don't want Enoch and Levy there. We are just. We don't want those people there. We're just done with them. They've not backed every single manager they've appointed, and they've not backed every single manager. Like, this is it. This is the last one.
Yeah.
And if Levy doesn't back Ange, then that is it. We are completely screwed. Like, give Ange the two centre backs, like Van der Veen and Tap Sober. Like, this should have been done before pre-season, but no, it wasn't. Like, I would go for Van der Veen, another Van, player name with Van. Look, this deadline, if we do buy him on deadline day, it doesn't beat Van der Vaart on deadline day. It doesn't. Brian Daigle even agreed. That doesn't beat Van der Vaart deadline day signing when we bought him. So
it's hard to top that, lad. Hard to top that. That was a bolt out of the blue. That was unreal.
Yeah, that was unreal. And he loves scoring against Arsenal. So he's a Spurs fan. And there's only one Aaron Lennon. And he always scored. Gareth Bale, always. But yeah, I'd go Ferguson from Brighton. Like, we need someone who can score 30 goals a season. I don't think he is. Like, we need someone who can score 30 goals a season.
You're never going to replace Harry Kane directly. I think you're going to have to make up the goals through combinations of Richarlison, whatever other striker comes in here. You hope they bag 15 apiece, and the rest still chip in, do what they usually did when Harry Kane was here. I think that's the great hope, because I think you'll agree, KPV, you never ever replace Harry Kane directly, right?
Yeah, you never will. Like, never will. Like, I heard we want a buyback clause if he wants to come back to the Premier League. Like,
I'd want that.
I do, yeah.
I
don't
want that, Dave. You don't want that, Dave? You don't want
because by the time he's going to come back here, he's going to be 32, 33. Right? It's a different conversation altogether, and you would hope, although we probably wouldn't have been, but you'd hope Spurs have moved on by then and have another guy up front scoring the goals. But look, again, you can never really
be like a Gareth Bale return, though, right? And it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad, and it just weren't. He came back.
Let's not forget there was half a season there we didn't see him at all.
Yeah, that's true.
It took him ages to get up to fitness, So
yeah, and Bale was meant to start against West Ham, but he came off the bench, and the party was gonna start. Like, is this the return? It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Second debut for Bale at Spurs, and
that was the 3-3, right, when he hit the post.
Yeah, I think Fabianski, the players were nearly celebrating if Bale scored, then we could have Ben and Sim done a watch along, and I watched it and that still hurts. 16 minutes, 3-0 up, and then David Moyes brings on Lanzini, who did score a few goals against us, and
Winks jumped out the way.
Like, Antonio is going to leave West Ham, I heard, so he's the one person I do not like when he scores against us. Him and Lanzini always seem to score against when we played them, but I think I heard the Chelsea fan has been identified who abused Son, the bridge.
The Crystal Palace fan, yeah, or
Crystal Palace fan. I meant, yeah. Like, every time Son plays West Ham, he always scores and he always gets abused. Like, stop abusing, because the West Ham fans are just jealous because he always scores against them. Like, I bet you it's going to happen again this season, and it's going to happen every time he plays them. But
look, enough of them. Enough of West Ham, KPV.
I'm just saying, Kane and Son always score in the London derby. But if Kane does go, then who's going to score in a North London derby at home and away? Because Kane's done it a long time. Son does. So North London derby 2 days after my birthday. the Emirates, like, who's going to score? Because as I've said many times, Kulu did not lose at the Emirates. He was injured. If
Kulu's
we
going to
had
brag
him
you.
in-
Kulu's
if
going
we
to bag
had him
you
in
a
the
birthday
team-
praise, KPV.
if we had him in a team last season at the Emirates, we would have won that game. But he was like, we bought him from Juve with Bentancur. That's his new name. But yeah,
Weren't they deadline day signings?
yeah,
Sort of?
January, yeah, 22 under Conte, and
Great
people
signings.
never heard of Kulu as people never heard of him, but we bought him in Bentancur. Like, we got top 4. David said it. Form is temporary, class is permanent. Like,
Yeah, you got
we
it right,
top
lad.
4. Yeah, people said we weren't going to get top 4 that season under Conte, but we did. We stopped Arsenal from getting top 4 because we, thanks to Kieran Trippier, though, who.
And then last season, it all came down crashing to earth, KPV. Came crashing down to earth.
This season, top 4's coming. Like, we just need to win derbies. You don't lose 4 London derbies under Portugal. Is Nuno.
We've got to improve the away form as well. The away form last season was absolutely shocking.
We need to improve. We only won, I think, 3 away games? Forest, Brighton, and I think that was.
We've done shocking last year's away form. Look, it's been shocking for quite some time. Even around London, our away form is shocking.
Yeah,
it's
London,
really
man.
bad.
Like, away form under Conte, not that good. But under Poch was pretty good. But London away form over the last decade hasn't been pretty good. But this season has to improve away form. Like, it's time to win at the Emirates. Redknapp was the last manager to do that, and since then we've not won there. But that was the Carabao Cup under Poch, not the Premier League. But Ange knows how to win away. So can he finally be the person to end that run at the Emirates?
Let's hope so, KPV. Let's hope so. Can you give us?
Man. Top 4 is coming, and success is coming. Like he said to Madison, whether you come or not, you're going to see a different Spurs and Mads, and so Madsen gonna score 3 kicks because Kane can't, and he only scored 1. That was Brentford. Like, but
Madison's going to be scoring free kicks all over the place this season, KPV.
He's going to be scoring them all, man.
But
you're
look,
right.
Why don't you give us your sign out? Ellie wants to know who's letting the dogs out. No, she put it here in the private chat and the one behind. She wants to know who's letting the dogs out.
Who's letting the dogs out? Okay. Well, it's Ellie again. Everyone, Ellie's letting the dogs out. So Tyler, Ellie, everyone let the dogs out. But I'm out, people. This weekend, I've been to a barbecue yesterday to my mates. And so this Saturday, people, I think it's Saturday, I'm going to watch SummerSlam. And then I'll be... so I'll
get the Barbies out, KPV. Good man. Let me invite me next time so I can cook. So I can cook for you, KPV.
So good to see you with a smile on your face as well. Great to see you with a smile on your face.
Boy. I'll see you for a Premier League game this season. Definitely, it's definitely going to be a big game, a big Premier League game. But
absolutely.
I'll see you soon, boys.
We'll see you soon, KPV.
See you soon. Big up.
Catch you, brother. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Have a good.
How great is it to see KPV back smiling again, everyone? Great smile on his face today. It must be that barbecue yesterday. Must have been an absolute great barbecue.
Do you think he did the burgers, Dave? Do you think he did a hot dog? What do you think he was going for? Sausage?
I think he's a burger man, just like myself. You're all straight in there, burger bun, the whole lot, burger and chips. Big up KPV. He knows where the fun is at. What an absolute legend. Everyone to big him up. But look, we'll keep this moving. Who we got next, Jacko?
I think we had Rufus in there. Rufus, if you still are listening and if you still have that link saved, feel free to come on in. We can still bring you in here. Would love to still see you, Rufus, if you're still listening, and you and Jacob. but we're going to go on to the person after, who was going to be Ellie. So Ellie, if you have your camera on, or it doesn't matter, Ellie, we'll just bring you on and have a chat with you. Let's bring on Ellie, see what she has to say.
She's on
There
the
she
chicken
is.
steaks.
Yeah, I'm here.
Big up,
There
pal.
she
How are
is.
you?
Yeah, not bad. I'm okay. I'm going to put my light on because I was waiting because I thought Rufus was going to be on. I'll put my camera on.
That's
now.
okay. That's
Just
okay.
Right. Just hopefully my cat doesn't want to come on camera. That's better. There we are. Here's the Elster. I've got a bit of a cough. Sorry.
That's all right, Ellie. I hope you feel better soon. Do you feel like Spurs? I've actually noticed, by the way, when Spurs were training, it was raining a lot. At least in the training, has it not been the best of weather this week?
Yeah, it's been a bit gloomy in London. The weather up and down, but mostly overcast. Yeah. Sorry.
Were you able
about
to?
my cough.
No, Ellie, please. Were you able to catch any of the training videos? You know, did you see Gio Lo Celso is still scoring? You know, we haven't spoke about him, I guess, today. Lo Celso redemption arc. Who do you want to talk about today?
No, I like to talk about Gio because I like him as a player. It's just maybe his attitude was a little bit wanting early days at Spurs, and then it sort of the bandwagon started with the like the jibes about his attitude and his general when he comes into the training ground, what he's like, and lots of gossip happens, doesn't it, Jack? So I just feel maybe he got a hard deal on that front, but some of it was true because even the great Alistair Gold used to comment on it as well. So listen, as long as Ange has taken him under the wing and he trusts the player and he can get that extra yard from him, because no doubt the boy is talented. He really is. He's got all the skill. He's just got to be played in the right position where he's comfortable, because I know some players, they're versatile, but some other players, they like their position, so I just feel like maybe Ange will get the best out of him, but it doesn't seem like the same way with Nodambelli. Although he was shining in training, he didn't get a look in the 2 games, did he? So
no.
Yeah.
And was it injury related, do you think, or was there maybe something deeper that we're not sure about yet? Maybe
we don't really know. We don't really know because we don't know. Sometimes the club are very secretive about things and they don't let things out, so we're not really sure. But with Nodambelli, I think it's mainly his fitness, his general fitness to last the 90 minutes, because I don't think any manager will trust him to do that. But you know what? You could start him and then take him off when he tires. Or the only other option, well, there's 2 other options. Put him on the bench and bring him on for the last 20 minutes or half an hour, give him half an hour at least, or just sell him, take the loss, because if Ange doesn't fancy him, and it seems that way, it seemed early doors, though, that he did fancy him, didn't it?
It
He was
did.
putting his arm around him and everything.
It did, and it felt like there was going to be either Lo Celso or Tanguy that were going to be the ones to win over Ange, right? And a lot of people like myself are a bit more on the Tanguy train than we were on the Gio Lo Celso train. I think part of that had to do with the fact that I do think Tanguy is more talented and maybe has more ability than Lo Celso does. But I also kind of thought that Lo Celso, he kind of had moves already lined up for him. Like he could have, like it was his choice whether he really wanted to stay or go, maybe compared to other players. Like he could have, he could have joined Unai Emery. He could have went to Villarreal. He could have went back to Real Betis. I think that was another rumor. He had some suitors. So I actually did not expect him to maybe give Spurs another chance, even though maybe, that's not really how it always should work, that, the player is giving us a chance. But I did really think about, him kind of already giving us the cold shoulder. Ellie, I'm actually quite surprised that he's, willing to, try again with Spurs. It's a redemption arc that I didn't expect. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's true. If you're a betting person, you wouldn't bet on Lo Celso being the one that Ange would keep. But he's obviously seen something in the player that's worth keeping. We know he's talented. There's no doubt about that. But he's probably seen something more, attitude, commitment, you know, and he scored 2 goals for us. So, you know, it's more. I think that's more than he scored in his whole career at Spurs. I haven't looked at his stats, but he hasn't scored that many more. And I just maybe there's a connection there, because I think Ange loves players who can move the ball quickly, and Lo Celso can definitely do that. Plus, he likes players that, you know, move off the ball very well, and Lo Celso fits the bill in that respect as well. So, you know, I think Ange knows what he's doing, just put it that way. And if he likes the player and he can relive his career at Spurs rather than selling him, it makes sense. And we do need goals in the team. He hasn't been prolific, to tell you the truth, but I think under Ange you might score a few more, because he's going to give him a different role. Well, he's going to give him the same role that he wanted to play, but no other manager played him in that role. You know, like he plays for Argentina on the right, cutting in. That's his best role. Yeah.
He looked good on the left, though, to be fair, and that's where I thought he was kind of playing in the preseason friendlies. He just looked good in general, Ellie. He was just sort of kind of making everything happen. I'm pretty sure you've made people sign a Højbjerg apology form at some stage or another. Have you seen the Lo Celso apology forms? They're already coming out, you know, the Lo Celso apology forms. I mean, what would it take for you to sign one of those? What would it take for you to sign one of those?
Do you know what? I've always liked the player, so I don't need to sign the form. But I'd send an email to the to the club, like I'm famous for them. But the thing is, I think with Lo Celso, he's one of those players you either love or hate, and like he had a lot of hatred for the wrong reasons. Because you can't attack him for his football, because it's just his commitment, and you could see he was unhappy at the club. But you said he was playing on the left, right? But when
Felt like that.
Yeah, but I think he's better playing on the right. I don't know. I just think he's better on the right, because that's how he plays for Argentina, on the right. And also, when he's cutting in from the left, he's a right-footed player, isn't he? I'm sure
he's a left-footed player. Yeah,
Is he left-footed? Oh, right, okay. Well, maybe I got that one wrong, but I know he does play predominantly right for Argentina. That's what I've seen.
I think you're right about that. That.
And he plays really well. And like Messi was bigging up, and if Messi bigs up a player, it doesn't come too lightly anyway. And he said he's very good around the camp, the Argentinian camp. And I think they actually asked him to go, even though he was injured. They asked him to come and meet up with the players. So there must be something about the lad that's really good. You know, it's just that his career at Spurs sort of plateaued, and then he never got a look in, and then we put him out on loan. So we never saw the best of him. So it might be a resurrection of his career. You'll see. We'll see. When that first team sheet comes out, lads, if his name's on the team sheet, we know that he's one of Ange's babies, and
he's won him over.
Yeah, I think he will be on the team sheet, but I don't want to keep making excuses for these guys. The reason why he was shipped out in the first place is because he wasn't producing, and we do not make them excuses for Kane, Son, people like that. Under every manager, they produce regardless of the system, regardless of what they're asked to do. So Lo Celso, although he's put in 2 good 45 minutes, and I'm willing to give him this season, he's got a lot more to do before he gets my own way of
get Dave's apology form sent in the mail.
I don't forget the woeful appearances. I mean, there was one against United where I was officially done with him. Came off the bench, Sonny running in behind. You simple inside of the foot pass round Sonny, he's in. He plays an outside of the boot ball behind Sonny, and it's like, why are you dicking about for? Why are you doing that for? You know, so for me, he's still got a lot more to do. A lot more to do.
I was just thinking how Dave would start his apology note.
I wouldn't.
You were shit, and we knew you were. But
do you want to know how I'd start it, Ellie? Do you want to know how I'd start it? About time. That's how I'd start. About time. Thank you. You
Get
know?
your finger at Lo Celso. He looks like a wet blanket when he arrived, didn't he? With his suitcase, he looked right pissed off, like he had to come, like it was a chore to come back to Spurs. But then you see him in the games and like celebrating with the players, and he feels part of the team. And I think Ange might have done something with him, because that guy, he's a personable guy, Ange Postecoglou, and he knows what he wants out of a player, and if he can resurrect his career, my hat goes off to Postecoglou, because the boy didn't perform for us, and he was woeful a lot of the time. I could only pick out 2 or 3 games where I could say Lo Celso played really well. And I know when he scored against Man City, he played pretty well in that game. He didn't play fantastic. He's never played like out of his skin. He's never done like a Luka Modric or a Berbatov or a Gareth Bale performance, Like,
well, even what Dave had, even what Dave and I had brought up, even him compared to Ndombele, like Ndombele's had probably some of the worst performances we've ever seen in a Spurs shirt, but at least we know he's also had some of those games that you just spoke about where he completely took over and completely ran the show himself, and we didn't see that as much from Lo Celso, which left us scratching our head. But Ellie, we need to save time to talk about your man Højbjerg, because I think Dave's had to go through this whole summer thinking about his favorite player leaving, Harry Kane. You've had to maybe start thinking about this summer about your favorite player, Højbjerg, leaving. Where do you stand on him leaving?
The last time I read something about it, right, because you get loads of conflicting stories, but the last time I read something of any concrete, it said that we hadn't agreed a fee. He agreed personal terms, but we haven't agreed a fee. With
25 million we rejected.
Yeah, right. So we've rejected it. So that's good, because I want him to stay. I don't want him to go. I'm going to start a petition, right? Keep Højbjerg. More. I don't want him to stay more than Kane, because Kane is my favourite player, would you believe? But Højbjerg, I think he's so important to our team. And contrary to belief, people say they slate him and they say he's this, that, and the other. Do they actually watch the player? Come on. Like,
Dave's been defending him better than I have.
He gives so much to our team, and his passing is fantastic. He's probably, next to Kane, he's the best passer in our team. And some people say, because he passes sideways and backwards. Don't they see the passes that he does forward? They forget about the passes that he splits defence. That one against West Ham, the one against Leeds, the one against Man City, where he tenaciously won the ball and slips it through to Harry to make his record-breaking goal. They forget all of that. Yeah,
record-breaking pass.
I'm his PR lady anyway, so if they need to know anything about Højbjerg, they come to me.
Maybe that's why Dave loves him so much, because he gave the record-breaking pass.
And he won that ball really cleanly, right? He didn't do like sometimes when he's back in the defence, he'll do like an overzealous one, but that one he did a fantastic tackle and he won the ball and he slipped it through to Kane to score that magnificent goal. It made it easy for him, didn't he? Yeah. Come on. Look, and that goal against Marseille away, what a brilliant goal.
That was one of my favorite goals, actually. It's a screamer.
That's a committed player. Some players wouldn't have made that run, but that was late on in the game when you're absolutely drenched of energy. And he ran forward and scored that magnificent goal.
The Viking run, Ellie. We know it's the Viking run at the end of the game. I do it when I try to push that last mile, when I do my stairs or my, I channel my inner Højbjerg just to push through it.
What I was thinking of doing a Højbjerg channel. Even if he goes to just have a complete Højbjerg and have Højbjerg lovers come on and talk about him, and all the haters will just block him.
I tell you, it'd be the quickest way to 1 million. You'll have the whole of Denmark subscribing to your channel. Højbjerg, right? I can understand. I can understand where some of the conversation is taking place because of how we finished last season. I get it. But, we got to be balanced with it. This guy has played every minute, nearly every single minute for the last 3 to 4 years. Never misses a game for Tottenham, never misses a game for international duty, has barely had any summers off with international competitions going on. And it's sort of like, then he lost his midfield partner in Bentancur. And when you're 2 playing up against the 3, it's even harder. And if you don't have that relationship with the guy beside you, the partnership just does not look like it's there. And it was the same when Harry Winks was in beside Højbjerg. Then the same with Ollie Skip, And for me, I just think, Højbjerg, every team needs someone like a Højbjerg. And by the way, when we were 3-1 up against Southampton, people either didn't see it or don't mention it. But when we were watching it through whatever Jack streams it off, they one of the American channels, they showed Højbjerg at halftime in the tunnel, speaking to people, getting them switched on. Let's not lose this. Let's go out there. Let's get at them. And then we end up crumbling and end up losing the game. And it's like, there's a lot more that goes on. And this is where people go, he's flappy hands, he's this, he's that. But issuing instructions to certain players in that starting 11, you're just wasting your breath. But at least he continues to do it regardless. And for me, once you get better players in there, you'll get players that will start responding to that. And you need that. And for me, I'm glad we rejected it, because 25 million for Højbjerg, for me, is not enough to make us sell. Plus, looking at some of his stats and stuff like that, there ain't too much out there across the leagues that have a lot better stats than him over the last few seasons.
For 25 million too.
Yeah, for 25 million. So for me, if you're looking to replace Højbjerg, it's too little, especially if the club is struggling to come up with money for centre backs. You're going to have to at least come up with another 50 million to get a good midfielder to sort of come in and replace him. Because I'm not getting into this business of let's sell him and let's move sideways. No, if you're going to sell Højbjerg, you severely upgrade and you bring in a guy that's 10 times better than him. Until then, for me, I think you got to keep him.
There's no player that's 10 times better than him, maybe twice as good as him, but not 10 times. But also, I must add, right, the last Denmark game he played in, he set up Højlund's goal, who's going to Chelsea, I believe.
United, Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah, I think he's either going to Man United or Chelsea, one of the two.
Yeah.
Right, that's the player we should have got to replace Kane. We should have been bidding for him, because all right, other clubs have come in for him, but if Højbjerg could have persuaded him, have a little Danish wink in his ear, but he set up his goal and he busted his gut again to get on the wing, and he crossed a beautiful cross to him. See, like a lot of people who slate Højbjerg, they don't see the whole player. When he's pointing for the idiots in our team who are out of position. Idiots. And they can't defend. So he's looking around to see where they should be, and they're not in there. And he's pointing, go there, you idiot.
Yeah. That's it. He's pointing at idiots. That's exactly what he's doing. Absolutely.
They've got no defensive awareness. Dyer is not a defender. He's really a defensive midfielder, but they converted him. But even defensive midfielder, he's found wanting because he hasn't got the pace.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the pace or the ball skill. So why do we keep these players? It's ridiculous.
It's just to the detriment of the club.
It's madness.
If we want to progress, a lot of these guys we have to go. But unfortunately, we're getting sucked into conversations about selling our better players because that's what is out there. That's the interest that's out there. And then we just sort of forget about the shit players. And it's like, I'm just bored of it now at this point. Just get rid of the crap players, get in better players. It's that simple.
Yeah. The only one we've got rid of is Winks, isn't it? That's the only one we've got rid of. And we got 10 million for him, I believe. Yeah. So I'm really disappointed in the club. Not doing good business. The only one they've got who's they've got two, Solomon on a free and Maddison, who's going to be a fabulous signing, no doubt. But if you don't solidify that defence, what's the point? We're going to score and the other team are going to score more. Look, West Ham, 4 chances, 3 goals. What makes you think it's going to be different and when these Premiership starts?
Yeah, spot on. Absolutely.
It's true. And we even lit a goal in against Pirates. They scored first as well. If that amateur team can score against us, you imagine what Man City are going to do, Arsenal going to do. Chelsea coming up. They've signed very, very good players. We're going to be lagging, right? So we even with I was talking to a Hotspur hippie today, right? And he was talking about Ange ball, and he goes, "There's no such thing as Ange ball. Ange adapts. He plays many different styles." And he will look at how our team are performing throughout the season, and he will adapt, right? And I was agreeing with him because I've seen how Celtic play. They adapted as well, and look what they did. They won the Scottish treble. If he can just get 1 cup for us, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. But at Celtic, they went out and done business for him. And although people say,
yes,
oh, well, come on, from the J League, the difference is Postecoglou knew exactly what he's bringing from the J League. He managed there. It's not like it was an unknown and he got them playing. He knew exactly what he was bringing in. And they backed Postecoglou with what he's needed. And they've done it to the best of their ability every single window. You know,
true.
So
what I would say to that,
I encourage people go and listen to what Joe Hart has to say about Ange Postecoglou. How how he got him to sign for Celtic.
Sorry to interrupt, but what I would say to that is, didn't they see Japan women batter Spain, who have been firing on all cylinders? They battered Spain 4-0 today. Japanese team.
Yeah, I saw.
And they put down these leagues. And thinking that our league is better than their league and our league's better than the Scottish League. No, you can get good players from every single league around the world. I'm trying to get rid of my cat, sorry. Get lost, cat. Right. So, so don't be snobbish and think these players can't be good. Look at Kyogo, went to the Scottish League, scoring for fun. I think he scored 28 goals in total. Now they've signed him up for a 4-year deal. Right, we could have snapped him up, but maybe Ange couldn't because, he was being loyal. But, that would have been a great player to bring in, right? And they've got other players at Celtic that we could have poached. And there's many other players in many other leagues that are just as good as these Premiership players, right? Look at Matoma at Brighton. Fantastic player. Made Man United look like stupid. Made us look stupid at White Hart Lane as well. But his goal was ruled offside, right?
Yeah.
They ran rings round us, those Brighton players. They come from lesser leagues, and they made us look stupid.
With Brighton, though, because they've got a good 11 out there, they're able to bring these guys in, give them time behind the scenes to adapt, and then unleash them. Because we need players to walk into our 11, we don't really necessarily have the patience to sort of do that. But I do hear what you're saying on that. And look, me and Jack have said this before, Ellie. Tottenham should be having scouts in a lot of these leagues, or you even employ people in them countries, top scouts in them countries to be recommendations to Tottenham and stuff like that. Fully agree with that. But Ellie, big yourself up. Great chatting to you as always. Loving the green cap. Keep that coming. And we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Jazz Fusion, if he's in the chat, I've won the cat for you today because he said in our THFC Till I Die's chat that he loves my hat. So there you go. All
Big
right.
up Jazzy Fusion. Legend.
Thank you very much, lads. Take care.
Thank you, Ellie.
Good luck with the rest of the show. I always love your content. Up the Irish Hotspur. Come on.
Thank you, Ellie.
Have
a good evening.
Enjoy the women's football tomorrow, Ellie.
I will do. You take care.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Wish us luck tomorrow, Ellie. We got a big game against Portugal.
Yeah, I wish you luck. Don't worry.
Thank you, Ellie.
All right. The Americans are okay. You're good at football, man. You've done. Look, you won the 2015 World Cup and the 2019.
They'll do us proud.
You're going to make it a hat trick, probably. The only teams that are going to touch you are England and probably Spain. Even though they got whooped today, they've got very talented teams.
It's true. It's true.
All right. Good luck anyway.
Thank you, Ellie.
Have
a good evening.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
See you, Ellie. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Everybody, give Ellie a lot of love in the comments. OG, been in and around the channel since more or less day dot. And incredible support to go along with it as well. So everybody, big up Ellie. Always a great conversation and always gets her stance in there on the high bar. Absolutely love it. Jay Mead and big up John and Gary. Yeah, Dublin won. Sickening. Now we have to listen to you guys gloat for the next year. But look, it is what it is. And, hopefully you lose it next year. But big up, guys. Go and enjoy it. Celebrate.
Legend.
Oh, but look, we'll keep going. Keep moving. Who's next, Jack?
Two guests left, so I think by the looks of things, everybody, if you haven't saved the link, please do click it now. It really would be a massive service to us just to get any sort of idea of what's left. But I do think we have two guests left, so let's give them a warm welcome. I think it's going to be Brad Matthews first, then we're going to finish off with Tyler. Let's speak to Brad.
Big up, Brad. How you keeping, my man?
Gentlemen, really, really good. Thank you very much. I had working from home today, and Shouldn't really say this, but had the cricket on in the background. England had a great test victory in the Ashes, so I'm really stoked on that. Cricket season's finished now. It's all about the football for me now. So,
what's all this nonsense about that player retiring?
Which part? Oh yeah, no, Stuart Broad. Stuart Broad. He's retired after second highest wicket taker in England's history, and he retired today. Took the last 2 wickets. Yeah, excellent stuff. Excellent. A very good cricketer who gives his all, which I think you'll agree in any sport is what you want to see.
Just quickly, Brad, were you happy to see the videos of the Spurs players doing the cricket, or are you kind of like Dave here, who had bad flashbacks of the past under Jose Mourinho and those sort of distractions? Did you catch that video?
I haven't seen those, to be honest. But
it was Tanganga, Harry Kane, and I think it was I think it was Eric Dyer as well, who were playing a bit of cricket. And Tanganga, I would say, was probably one of the better players. It was funny.
Oh, sorry. I get what you're saying now. Oh, well, that's just PR, isn't it, for the website, isn't it?
Dave certainly doesn't like that type of PR with the cricket.
Yeah, that's what that was. They're in Australia.
I'd be using Eric Dyer as the bat, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Eric Dyer's probably a better cricketer than he is a footballer. So, yeah, maybe something to learn from that video. But no,
in fact, actually, that's where he learns his ducking of the ball, right? Every time the ball comes, he ducks. That's where he's learned it, from cricket.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
Wrong throws.
Right,
wrong balls.
Right.
Look, Brad, let's kick this off in style. There's support 14 with a support for the channel. Big yourself up, brother. Says, not a nice question, but would you rather sell Harry Kane, buy 2 centre-backs, or keep Harry and buy no centre-backs? Oh, he's putting us in a tough position here, Brad, but where are you at with it? We'll all answer this.
I think as Harry Kane is 30, and we can get a lot of money for him, and let's face it, I think, okay, let me answer it this way. I think not having 2 centre-backs this season, or 2 decent centre-backs this season, will be far worse for us than not having Harry Kane. My reasoning for saying that is I think Harry Kane, he's worth 30 goals a season. You can't deny that. And, of course, I'd love to keep him at the club. But I think the way Ange plays football, you're going to see a lot more midfielders scoring goals. People like Maddison. Son's going to be on form again. And I think Richarlison, if he becomes the main centre-forward, I think he plays a lot better when he's given that responsibility and he plays a load of games. We remember how he played for Everton when he virtually single-handedly saved them from relegation. So as much as I don't want Kane to go, I think it's probably more of a problem if we don't get 2 decent centre-backs. I think attacking-wise, we play more attacking football. We're going to have more goals from the midfielders, like we did under Poch when we had players like Dele Alli, Eriksson, and Son scoring goals. So if that's the way, that's how I would answer it. So I guess if you're saying this, sell Harry and buy 2 centre-backs, I guess.
That was brave of you, Brad. Not an easy question to answer, and I think you actually started us off well.
I mean, I could answer it in the other way, is that no, we're a big club. We should be keeping Harry Kane and buying 2 centre-backs anyway. So it shouldn't really be an option. Now, I just can't believe. I mean, we're not going for Guardiola, whatever his name is, who's 80, 90 million. We're going for a couple of centre-backs, one who's 40, 50 million, and we're crying poverty. So, nah.
The scenario where we keep Harry Kane and buy no center backs, that's actually what we basically had last season. Yeah. And that then means we'll concede 63 plus goals in some scenario. So that's as brutal as that may sound out loud. That's why I'd probably sell Harry Kane then and get in the 2 center backs, because Harry Kane's scored 30 goals last season for us, but we still ended up conceding more than 60. And a lot of the times when Harry Kane scored, it kind of just ended up being for nothing, because we ended up still conceding at the depths of the game, only for us to drop points and only for us to not actually get the points that we thought we would get by scoring 3 or 4 goals. I mean, how many times did we end up actually either losing or drawing or, struggling when we ended up scoring 3 or 4 goals in a game? Like, that's just unsustainable.
And the other thing is the fact that, we concede all those goals under a supposedly good defensive coach. If they can't perform as centre-backs under a guy who knows what he's doing defensively, how are they going to perform under Ange Postecoglou, who openly says, I don't teach defence? So you know, it's like, so yeah,
Do you know
I
what?
agree.
it's harsh, but
I disagree with you both. I disagree with you both. Look, of course, we need centre backs, right? Ideally, we need to keep both because for me, I'm a firm believer. Regardless of what you do, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, in my opinion. Because you bring in centre backs, you sell Harry Kane, you're creating problems, you know. And the reality is, you know, you like Spurs fans have to start being honest about this. Taking out about a quarter of goals. Harry Kane scored 30 goals last season. Goals are a major factor in winning games. You know, you have to have goal scorers, and I get everyone saying other players are going to chip in. I get it. But other players have always chipped in. You know, are they going to chip in with the extra goals that people think they're going to? Well, where's the evidence they're going to? I haven't seen it in years gone by where they've been at other clubs or even at Tottenham. So for me, I'm not 100% sold on it. I'm also not 100% sold that Richie's going to bag the goals that we desire up front. And if you don't score goals, you're going to do what Everton were last season. It's a huge
Are we
problem
better
when you
off?
don't score goals.
Are we better off conceding 30 fewer, or are we better off scoring around the same amount we scored, let's say, last season?
Well,
or more? I guess like scoring 20
Mm.
more, I guess, is probably what maybe a lot of people think we'd score around 20 or 30 more.
we have had
Yeah.
goals from other areas, but we haven't had them in the last couple of seasons. Yeah,
I disagree, though,
certainly not from the
Bentancur and
midfield.
Højbjerg scored 5 apiece last season. Porro scored a few. Centre backs chipped in with goals last season.
Yeah,
you know, wingers chipped in with goals last season and seasons gone by. This whole thing that other players don't chip in, it's nonsense.
But we had a season where Eriksen, Dele Alli, and Son all scored 20 goals. So, you know, we've had that, and I mean, personally, my own personal opinion on this is I'd tell Bayern Munich where to go and keep Harry Kane and hope that he gets convinced by the way we play our football that there is a future for Tottenham and winning things. And I don't see why we have to sell Harry Kane to buy 2 centre backs. You know, that wasn't the thing early on in the transfer window.
We were told.
We weren't reading. Oh, we have to sell before we can buy. You know, so I don't understand it. I've just been on Chris's show. We made £400 million in revenue, and yet we made a loss last season. You got to question yourself. Well, how's that come about? You know, how can we be the third most revenue club in sports, not only football, in the world, and yet we're crying poverty and making losses? So
how is there no emergency fund to get the center back? Like you do kind of question yourself. Like, how is there not actually 40 million? There should be 40 million lying around.
You think so? And I was watching. I forget who it was. Someone yesterday went on the company's house and said that £50 million still hasn't been activated. You know, the £150 million they have with the share thing, and there's 50 million left. That still hasn't been activated. So
they might have took that out to pay the Pedro Porro deal, right? Because that was paid under. I think that had to be paid. I think that might have been taken out to pay that.
According to the company's house, it's still there. So I don't know. I don't trust billionaires anyway. So I think there's I'd like to. I did look at the figures. I did look at the end of season accounts, and it's like, well, hang on a minute. How do we lose a £400 million revenue? You know, the cost can't be that much. You know, so. Yeah,
and I agree with what you said, where at the beginning of the season, we were told that it was not going to be the case, that selling Harry Kane was going to bring us the center backs. We were told those were supposed to be mutually exclusive from each other. They were supposed to be separate. And it's frustrating now that they are being linked at all. And to be honest, what's even frustrating for me, Brad, is it feels like we've kind of been speaking about this whole summer about replacing Harry Kane, yet we haven't even replaced or brought in any center backs or even, replaced Moonhead or Sanchez or any of these guys. Like, it's all really kind of scary to think about that we're sort of talking about, who do we want to replace Harry Kane with? But we haven't even seen Eric Dyer leave yet. We haven't even seen Sanchez leave yet. A lot of players that are the real problem in this team. And yet we're kind of having conversations about selling our best players before we're talking about, getting rid of our voice players, which is scary.
I mean, this is my reasoning for when Conte left, to getting a new manager then. I mean, although to be fair, we wouldn't have got Postecoglou, but
that's true.
You wanted to say, let's spend half, rather than spending the last half of the season trying to get into the Champions League, which we didn't anyway. spend that half a season, finding deals for these players out on loan. And you're right, at the moment, it's like, who's going? Well, okay, Sanchez looks like he probably will go. To be fair, look, if he doesn't want to go to Russia, I don't blame him.
Yes.
No problem there.
Yeah.
But now apparently Nottingham Forest are interested in him. So,
But what if he rejects that one too? It feels like he's been rejecting a lot of moves like Sanchez.
I think from what I've read, he does want to move. He does want to move. But the first offer that's coming that we've accepted is from a team. Well, I didn't even know that you could still accept deals from Russian teams. So that's Tottenham all over, isn't it? They'll set the deal and they'll be like, hang on a minute, you can't do that. It's like it's crazy. But look, this is the saying, speculate to accumulate, all this sort of thing. We don't seem to do that. We don't seem to take that chance. Or where we do take that chance, we buy sort of duds like Ndombele and that, So, let's talk about Levy being a great businessman. Oh, we buy players that have got sell-on value. Well, Ndombele, 62 million, apparently worth 10 million now. Sanchez, 42 million, apparently worth 10 million or whatever. So it hasn't really worked out, has it? This
off the old model, Brad, off the old model, you would say that saying's true. But, since sort of Pochettino came in and some of the later signings towards the end of his tenure, that's gone completely out the window. That used to be true. Like, picked up Bale for fuck all, picked up Modric for fuck all, Rose, or Kyle Walker, people like that. It used to be true. Sadly, it's just not anymore. That's got worse. The scouting department has got worse. Our identification of talent has got worse. It's an absolute joke. Big up Del support. Also, let us know what you would do, my man. You're not escaping answering.
You have to answer.
Let us know what you would do. Big up. But I do hear the argument on centre back. So big up, brother. Big yourself up.
And also actually just quickly too, underneath that, it was right after Dell support. Rob Wallace gifted out 5 different memberships to people. So please take advantage. You have Mark New, who has a new membership. Jay Keaveney has a new membership. You have Krista Thompson has a new membership. Big up to Krista. Rohan Kumar, love you, Rohan. He's gifted a new membership. And then I don't know, I keep trying to turn it off, but I was gifted one as well. And then I will pass that on to maybe a lucky somebody, maybe for the next stream, something to keep in mind. I'll think of somebody who definitely deserves it, who's been meaning to come on. Maybe a certain Adrian Schroka. We could give that over, Adrian, if you want to come on and have your say, my friend. But everybody do thank Rob Wallace if he did give you a membership, and do take advantage of it. The man has given you an opportunity to come on next time.
I want to say big up Rob as well. And, the reason why he does it is because, he knows it's tough out there, and there's a lot of Spurs fans that want their say. And he's, he's really good at doing that and helping out. So everybody, please, when Rob does do it, please use it and avail of it, and just think of Rob giving it to you. So make sure you get on here and have your say. But also, Rob, when are you going to come on, buddy? When are you going to come on and have your say? You gotta get on and have your say. And also, people, even if you don't want to send a super chat like Rob is doing, gifting out memberships, you can also do that as well and help other Spurs fans benefit from it. But big up Rob Wallace, top man. And hopefully, New Zealand's doing well as well. And also, that the Tottenham hype is still around over there, because over here it's sucked out of us all, my man. Big up Rob Wallace.
Last question for me here, Brad. Basically, what is maybe something that you were talking over with Chris, that maybe you want to bring over here? Was there any sort of, kind of rant that maybe you were having over on Chris's channel that maybe you feel like we should be learning about? What's sort of like maybe one last topic that...
I guess what's happened since the last fan show is the indictment of Joe Lewis.
Thoughts?
And, I think Tottenham have actually dodged a bullet there, because about a year ago, he transferred all of his power to that trust fund, which we all thought was he was doing because he was getting old. But you wonder if he sort of had an inkling what's going to happen.
Of course he did.
And I tell you what, the New York courts take these things really, really seriously. Having said that, it's still going to be a year before it even gets to court. He's pleaded not guilty.
He's on bail.
The Premier League have come out and said that he's not the owner of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So there you go. So I think Tottenham have dodged the bullet. As for billionaires, well, my feelings about billionaires, how much money is enough? They just all seem to want more money, even though, let's face it, if you had that sort of money, you wouldn't be able to spend it anyway. So it's crazy. And I'd just like to put this straight. If anyone's got, because apparently it's a $300 million bond, isn't it? Well, before anyone says, "Oh, what? How can he get that money when we can't buy a defender?" Well, that's just a piece of paper. That's all that is. All that means is that if he doesn't turn up to court, then he has to pay 300 million. So it's not that he's suddenly got $300 million from nowhere to here you are, have it. It's not that at all. It's a bond. So that's not an issue. But I think whether it actually speeds up any potential sale of the club, I don't know. I don't know how that works. You do wonder. I can't see. Look, Levy's got too many fingers in too many pies with this club, with all the the property and that sort of thing, for him to sell it. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. As much as I'd like to see it happen, I don't think it will. But yeah, the Joe Lewis thing. How much money do you want? It's just disgraceful, and that goes not only for him; it goes for everyone. It also, a lot of people used to say, "Oh, why doesn't Elon Musk take over Tottenham? That'd be really good." Well, no, it wouldn't. See how he's fucked up bloody Twitter or X or what it's called now, or whatever it is. So yeah.
What would you say? Just Dave had a question that I don't know we didn't get to, but any thoughts on American ownership, Brad? Like, do you feel like there's risks in it? Do you feel like maybe they're showing they could be dependable? What do you think? Because Jay-Z and his sort of like investor groups have been linked with us.
Well,
Dave is sort of like Dave's. I think he's caught like he's in between. Like they've shown to be good and they've shown to be bad. The Americans.
Listen, there are. I mean, I don't like billionaires, but I think it's like say Microsoft have done stuff that's okay. I think the guy who's in charge of them seems pretty sort of honest. But look, it's going to take a lot of money to buy Tottenham. I don't know. You look at what's happened with Chelsea. That's going to be a problem, I think, at some stage, because you talk about insider trading. It's just so funny that they're selling all their players to the Saudi league, and then you find out that the Saudis have invested this money in the company that owns Chelsea. So there's a lot of stuff there. But look, if the American owner wants us and he's honest and pays the money and shows the commitment to the football, then great. But I'm not so sure they're out there. To be honest, I think you look at the Glazers and you look at the owners that used to be at Liverpool, and it's all a financial thing for them. So really, you want some British billionaire who's a Spurs supporter who buys the club because he wants Spurs to do well, not because he wants to make money out of it.
Do you know what, Brad? I was actually saying something about that the other day. Them owners are gone. The days of the local businessman, millionaire taking over the club who has an investment in the area, the people and everything else, wanting to do well for the club. Them days are gone. You're bringing in people who just don't even give a shit about football. They don't even like football. They just see it as a cash cow. Them days are absolutely gone.
It's sad. It's sad. It's really sad. And as for the Jay-Z thing, I mean, that's total toss, really. The only thing I would say is it could be worse. It could be Kanye West, so even worse.
I love Coco says Jay-Z has a flat cap, so he must be interested. Absolutely. That's absolutely a great comment. One of the comments of the evening.
For sure.
Brad, anything that you want to bring up on the channel, and also please tell us about the channel, and also good to have you. I'm glad we were still able to speak to you this evening.
Right. Could I say a plea from me? My last 6 songs have attracted over 100 views. The latest one has not done so well. So please go on to Blue Sofa Songs and look at my last song, which is called Comfort Zone, which I literally recorded, mixed, did the video in 7 hours. I did it in one day, because even though I've got 4 weeks to do songs now because I'm working, I left it to the last minute, so I had last Thursday off, and it took me ages. But if anyone that doesn't know, I write songs, I play all the instruments, record them, various tracks, do videos, and put them out on YouTube. The next one won't be until the 25th of August because it's time consuming now. I'm working, but there is one out there at the moment, Comfort Zone. Before that, the songs I think I'm very, very pleased with. The 2 songs before that, very pleased with. So yeah, please go on to Blue Sofa Songs. It's just me writing songs about things I believe in, things that happened to me, and occasionally something really, really silly. So it's a passion of mine. It's something I like to do, and it's always a pleasure when they come out on the Friday. And it'd be really nice if you could go and have a look and share and do all those sort of nice things. And again, thank you to these guys for giving me the opportunity to actually put it out there. So yeah.
No, of course. I love seeing Spurs fans succeed. Anyone that's not a Spurs fan, fuck yourself. But Spurs fans, I love seeing them succeed. So Brad, big yourself up, my man. Everybody, please do get across and check it out. A lot of hard work goes into it. It's not just simple as picking up an instrument and away you go. So much that goes into it. So get over there.
It's very stressful as well, Dave. I tell you, it's very stressful.
I well believe it. I get stressed with this equipment here, let alone going into all of that stuff, Brad. So big yourself up, my man. But Brad, thank you for popping in this evening. I will see you again soon.
Yeah,
have a good evening.
No problem.
Brad.
See you next week. Take care,
Big
guys.
Have a good one. Have a good night.
Big up.
Come on, you Spurs.
Everyone.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big Ange.
Everyone, big up, Brad. Really nice guy. Always has good opinions as well. And I like sharing his opinions as well. So please, reward that love and get over and check out the stuff on Brad's channel. So big up. And then we are down to the last guest of the evening. This will be the last guest, and then we will be ending off. So give us 1 second and we'll get him on. But Jim Boxwell, not Boxwell anymore. It's Jim, just the guy who loves Spurs. So Dave and Jack have flicked across 5 different streams today, and they're doom and gloom. I remember the days. This was such a great club to support. What has Levy and Enoch done to our once mighty Spurs? Look, every season just seems to be getting tougher. Right now, there seems no way out because one complication is stopping you from fixing it. And it's like, we always want to do things the slow, methodical way. Sell one, buy one. And I'm just getting pissed off. Yeah. I'm watching clubs around us do business left, right, and center, and they'll just worry about shipping out players come towards the end of the window. They're not even worried about it. They're just worried about making improvements. Never the case at Spurs. And that's where it all comes from. Even when I grew up watching a kid, I knew I'd get it. I knew there'd be some good signings in the transfer window. I knew you'd get a decent name or names that people have heard of. And over the years, that sorely, since the likes of Nkudu and G and people like that, we've gone way off the boil. And it hurts. And since then, it's had a knock-on effect across the whole club in terms of different scouting, different DOS, different managers training people, different philosophies filtered right throughout the club, which has a knock-on effect to all the youths coming up because, so there's no identity, no style towards it. It's just all over the shop. And then when you go to fix it, we just make it even double down and make it even harder, Jim. Just a joke.
I think Dave is spot on a lot of that, Jim. Perhaps a lot of it just has to do that Spurs fans are sort of finding themselves continually talking about the same things and kind of talking about the same problems that just haven't really been addressed for years. And when you kind of find yourself still talking about some of the same problems, it's hard to keep that sort of positive enthusiasm about it. And also, too, even when Spurs have made some changes here and there, and they have maybe given us that sort of inkling to be happy and to be positive and to start sort of happy clapping again, all of a sudden it gets kind of undone with some sort of lack of movement or, some sort of decision that, gives us that feeling that maybe we shouldn't be as confident as we thought we could be. And it's tough because it's been a roller coaster. And like Dave said, it's not, it's been, as much of an up, of a roller coaster. It's been a lot of down recently, but the moment we get those sort of moments to be positive, we'll take advantage of them, Jim, but they've been very few and far between right now. That's for sure. And also felt like Spurs were kicking things off the right way this summer, but yet again, we find ourselves towards the end of the summer questioning, why is it that, they start off so strong, but then, tailor off towards the end. It's just,
but I can tell you one thing. This ownership will never, ever outdo my love for this club. My love and support for this club will outdo this ownership. So,
absolutely.
Look, there's things popping up left, right, and center where people are trying to get these owners out, get more noise behind it. Who knows? But, there's already fractions in all of that as well. And it's sort of just like, look, these owners, I've resigned. There's 1% of the people in the world with that sort of money. They don't come around every day, so it's sort of like until that 1% wants to stump up the cash, what do you do? Because even if you do protest and get them to want to sell, you still need someone to sell it to. So it's sort of like, it's just like one thing I'll just resign myself to. They're not going to kill my love or enthusiasm or support for this club. No way. No way.
Don't let them
So
do it.
big
Dave.
up.
Yeah.
Big up.
Don't let
But
them.
look, let's get on to the last guest of the evening. Tyler, my man, are you there? Tennis Tyler.
I think he's getting a AC unit fixed or something like that. That sounds like, necessary, especially if you're getting, over there, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm there.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Tyler?
Doing all right. Bit of a crapshoot going on today, but
Yeah, I think I'm in Spurs in life, just everything, right? Yeah.
yeah, so I'm waiting on a call right now. So if I end up getting that call and I disappear,
okay.
you know what happens to me, and you guys
No
can
worries.
just end it.
Well, if you had to go right away, Tyler, what would you want to speak, about first? And I know, like you said to me, behind the scenes, it's frustrating to feel like you've been repeating yourself, the last few fan shows. But, what do you want to talk about today, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, look, like Dave was just saying, no matter what, like as soon as the Brentford game starts, I'm gonna be excited to watch. But I mean, and it has nothing to do with Ange. I think it's gonna be exciting watching Ange ball, playing attacking football. Finally, it's fantastic, and I can't wait. And like the start of this window was just, even though obviously the whole time I wanted the center backs to be done first. I mean, getting Madison, getting our goalkeeper done, and I think Solomon was a great pickup on a free because now I don't think we have to go and buy a winger because I think Perisic, Solomon, Kulu, Brian Hill is enough, and you got guys like I think even Lo Celso or Ndombele could fill in on the wing if they absolutely had to, even Madison. So I think we're good up top and in the midfield right now. So I am excited, but it's just hard not to be pissed off. I mean, we've been saying for multiple summers now about these center backs. It's just it just kills your mentality. Like,
do you feel like Spurs,
know.
Tyler, have done that sort of thing where if you've ever given like a long, chore list, by the parents or something like that, you just sort of go after the stuff that's a bit easier that, you'll kind of be like, I'll just ease into it, just sort of do those, knock those off. But then you sort of find yourself, towards the end of the day, and then you realize that you've saved all the tough stuff for last and you only have so much time to get it done. I feel like maybe that's what Spurs have kind of done here. Maybe they sort of took their time with a lot of the stuff that might have been a bit easier and they negotiated some great deals. But then the stuff that actually was going to be hard, they've actually maybe didn't leave themselves enough time or, distracted themselves. I'm not sure, but I'm not kidding. I could see them kind of looking at it that way, right? Where maybe they wanted to save the tough stuff for last. And now they've realized that they can't actually get it done.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think that part of the reason is because we cannot get rid of these players. Simple as that. Like, I mean, no one's putting up the offers really, other than for Sanchez. Yeah. But I mean, we're talking about a Russian club. I mean, obviously, I don't blame him at all for not wanting to go over there. But we've gotten to a point where we've given these guys such big contracts, and they're comfortable here, and they don't even care if they're not playing or not because they're making so much money, and they want to stick around. They do have friends within the team. Like Eric Dyer seems to be best friends with Harry Kane, and it's looking like Dyer, no matter what, will stay. So we've got to just try to get behind him as much as it's impossible, literally almost impossible. But I mean, as a backup, whatever. If Dyer has to be there, it's not the end of the world. It's just gonna hurt if we get into a cup game and we decide to rotate him in, and it's a crap show,
But look, Harry Kane spoke about that towards the end of last season. About he was asked about, I think, after the Wolves game, and he said, the cup game during the week has killed the momentum. It's killed the rhythm, and it's sort of like you win that game, it has a knock-on effect, right? And you're spot on, Tyler. That's where it's going to come back to haunt us, But if we don't sign anybody, then you have to rotate between them, and it's like, it's like picking the lotto numbers, right? You could go and pick a Dyer, but unfortunately on that day he's just not on it. He cost you. Then you go, okay, I'll drop him. I'll bring in Sanchez. Okay, he's not on his day. He cost you. And then you go, okay, I'll go and do Davies. And then it's like, Jesus Christ, and it's sort of like, look, we've been here time and time again with these guys. Even when these guys were part of the Europa Conference League squad, look how difficult they made that. That was supposed to be an enjoyable tournament where we go on and win. Look what West Ham done in it. And I'll be honest, I was sitting there watching that game with my own lad. I'd rather be West Ham lifting that trophy, you know. I wanted that trophy when we were in it. And it's just like these guys continuously make every competition hard, regardless of what one they play in, Tyler.
And it's like, what if we don't have the money to, spend like 50 mil on a center back or whatever? Well, we did for one. We didn't have to, buy Madison or whatever. We could have put that money towards a center back. But even if we can only get a center back for 10, 15, 20 mil, we need to get somebody in. I don't care if it's a youngster or not. I mean, you can scout for yourself. It doesn't take long to find decent left-footed center backs that's better than what we have. It just doesn't make sense. Nothing does right now. And I want to get behind, the club and Ange fully. And as soon as the first game starts, I'm gonna try my best at least. But it's just so hard. It's I don't know.
It's becoming a nightmare. But look, Del Support put in a super chat earlier, and we'll get you to answer it as well, Tyler. But he's responded. He says, Dave, Jack, honestly, I'd rather keep Kane at the expense of centre backs for me. I'd rather watch Kane and Son play for Tottenham week in, week out, but not do as well. Selfish answer, but I'm not ready. No, look, 100%. I get it. I get it. Like, we got to understand, and I'm with you on this, that Kane and Son have sort of more or less been the only enjoyment we've had in the football club over the last 3 to 4 years. Any of the good moments we have had, they've been a part of it, or they've contributed to it in a massive way. And you lose one of them, you got less enjoyment. But also, everyone thinks like Son's going to pick up all these goals. I get it, but how do we not know that Son's performance might not get as many goals? Because Harry Kane and him, it's a link up.
Telepathic. You're losing your telepathic partner.
Yeah, you're losing that partnership. Can Son strike that up with someone else? And is that other player of the ability to be able to give Son the regular chances or help Son the way that Harry Kane does, and vice versa? So, I agree with you on that, Del Support. But, Tyler, what would you say? So the question was, would you rather sell Harry or buy 2 centre-backs? And thanks for getting back to us with the answer, Del Support.
Legend.
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely hard because Harry Kane is, at least ever since I've, been a fan and watched, he's the best player we've ever had. He's the best striker in the world right now for me. Probably the best striker we've ever had at the club. It's so hard to, see all this happening and for him to maybe be leaving. But with him, wanting to get trophies and whatever, whether it goes to Bayern or not, I've already said my opinion on that. I don't think it means much to go to Bayern and win the league. But, if we could get, 2 center backs in, I would sell them. I really would. At this point, it's just getting drawn out for way too long. I would love to keep Kane. I hope we do, because we should be able to buy center backs regardless. But if keeping Kane means not getting center backs, I think we have to, I think we have to just sell him.
Look, I can understand whatever answer either people pick, to be honest with you, because it's sort of like, but look, ideally we need to do both, right? Keep Kane and buy centre backs, and it's like, you do one, you're going to suffer in another area. So it's sort of like, I can understand what. Great question, though. I mean, great question.
That's what we love. We love those types of questions.
What we're going to talk about on the fan show, and even I couldn't come up with that. So big up, Del Support, absolute legend. Tyler, are you on the Lisasso apology form? Are you on them? What do you think?
Do you need to fill one out maybe at some stage this season?
Yeah, I don't think I need to fill one out. I never, really slated him, to be honest. I always, knew there's a decent footballer in there. The only thing I'll say is, I think I've had a problem with his attitude. I think he, before the start of last season, it was clear and obvious he just did not want to be here. He didn't want to fight. It clearly didn't have any, friendships at the club. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens this season. I think he definitely is going to have a shot, and hope that he can perform well. And we'll see what happens with Ndombele as well. But with the injury, it's kind of.
What do you think with Ndombele? Over, because look, many people expect him to get minutes on preseason, sort of, hoping to see something from him. I mean, we're going into a season without seeing anything from him. He's been loaned out before because of his fitness issues and whatever. Have you not? Are they behind him? Are we keeping him? Give me a prediction. What's going to happen with Ndombele?
I really don't know. I just wish he didn't get this injury because it looked like, he was in and around the starting lineup that they were, in training at least, and he was probably going to start that West Ham game. So, I don't know. It sucks that he got injured, but with Lo Celso doing so well, I would love if both of them could stay. I think they both should stay because I would rather get rid of Skip, to be honest. And even if we sell Højbjerg, I'd like to get another 6 in, but there's just not enough spots available unless we would just loan out. We'd have to loan out Sar and probably Alfie Devine as well if we were to keep both of them. So I don't know. I think, but it's looking like no business is being done. So I don't even know, to be honest. But if one of them is to be sold right now, I just don't think anyone's going to buy Ndombele. So I don't know, actually.
Yeah,
only Lo Celso is being linked away,
Even when Lo Celso, we didn't expect him to stay. Like, the reason we didn't expect him to stay was not even just the attitude kind of issues. It was also the fact that he did have a lot of suitors, and it was sort of up to him, it felt like, Tyler, like whether he really wanted to stick around or not. Whereas with Ndombele, I actually think Ndombele was sort of like, didn't have as many suitors. If he really wanted to like keep his wages and sort of, maybe try to turn his career around, it was kind of up to him to sort of win himself back over with Spurs. But with Lo Celso, to be fair to him, he kind of did have offers elsewhere, so he could have just, packed up and left if he really wanted to in comparison. I do feel like, though, he is going to need to probably put in, I'll be honest, like I've said, half a season with some of these guys. I think it's going to need to be basically a great season. It's going to need to be a season where you sort of look at it and you think of him as maybe one of the better players on the season, somebody that was one of the more reliable ones, somebody that you could depend on, stepped up in some big moments. Doesn't need to be all the time, but maybe some big moments here or there he stepped up in and helped you out. That's what sort of gets people to fill out those apology forms and start to kind of go back onto it. But it is going to need to be a full season's worth. I did say with Ndombele, it would take, just him replacing Bentancur for, a few months. But I don't know. When I do think about it, for him or Lo Celso, Tanguy or Lo Celso, it's going to take a great season. They just need to have a great season, in order to win people back over.
Yeah, and another problem is if we aren't going to play Lo Celso with Madison, then is Lo Celso really going to get the minutes to where he's happy and he wants to stay here and his attitude won't shift again? Because I don't know if – I think we can play Lo Celso and Madison, but I just don't know if Ange will. I just don't know if he'll get the minutes. So I could see his attitude, turning, after a couple months, of him not starting consistently, or – what happens with Ndombele when Bentancur comes back. I mean, we really do have a lot of midfielders, and we have quality too. That's why I think we are looking to sell a Højbjerg, because we know we can get money for him, and we know, and we Ndombele and Lo Celso are better overall footballers than him, skill wise at least. Obviously Højbjerg's an incredible worker. You know exactly what you're going to get. He's going to fight for the club every time he's on the pitch. I love Højbjerg. I don't want to see him go, but I see sort of why we're having to sell Højbjerg.
Yeah, I can see it. We shouldn't be in that position, but I can see it.
We just don't have the spaces. We have so many midfielders right now. I feel like we just don't have the space. Like, I don't know who's going to be sold, but we're not making any moves right now. It's just I have no idea what's going to happen.
We're moveless. That's the problem. Moveless, Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh, but Tyler, big yourself up, my man. Great speaking to you. Great conversation. Thank you for answering our questions, my man. Hopefully you get that aircon sorted.
Yeah, thank you. It's been 4 days. It's been 85 degrees in the room. I've been sleeping downstairs on the couch. It's been rough.
Not easy.
But
not easy.
Yeah, sorry if I was just rambling, speaking nonsense.
No, not at all, lad.
I feel like I'm speaking in circles still. But
you gotta
I'm
get off the
surprised you were able
chest.
not to. Tyler, you're saying that you were worried you were going to repeat yourself. I was impressed that you still found a new thing to talk about. That takes some real skill. Big up to you, and let us let Dave or I know if you ever need anything, or if you need somebody to to take your mind off of things while the AC is still getting fixed or anything like that. Big up to you, my man.
Appreciate it, guys. You guys have a good one.
Have a good night, man.
Later.
See you soon, my man. Have a good night. Big up, Tyler. Everyone, big up Tyler in the comments. Absolutely love that guy. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. We have good conversation, so we do. So everyone, show Tyler a lot of love. In the chat, Kay or Joe, turn on your camera. And I must stress, this is the last person, and then we will be ending off. Oh, yes, I know exactly who he is. Big up, Kay. And then we have Brandon Troller. Look, we'll just get Kay on, aka Joe. We'll get him on to answer this with us. Big up, my man.
How you doing, sir?
What? Can't hear you.
There we go. I have my PC on mute. How are you guys doing?
There you are.
Yeah,
there you are.
Man. How are you keeping?
Here we are. Yeah, I'm doing good.
No, look. First of all, we'll start with the super chat, and then I want to ask you what's the story. Why has all the activity come to a halt? But Brandon Troller says here, would you sell Kane even if it means we don't sign a ready-made striker to replace him? Bring in a gift Orban or / have Scarlett rotating in, plus 2 centre backs. I mean, look, we'll start with you, Joe. What's your thoughts?
Would you sell Kane for? So even if we sold Kane, I'd rather not bring in any striker and bring in 2 defenders. I don't see the point of. You can put Sonny up front and he'll run in behind. You can see Richarlison, even though he only done it against a bad team, he could also do it, you know. But if you bring in those 2 centre backs, which we're not going to do because Levy's not got the brain for that. But in a dream world, if we did, you know, we would probably stop as many goals coming in as we would be scoring. So,
yeah. Look, I can understand it. Jack, you're more or less on that thought process, right, as well. And you know that you'd rather stop shipping the goals, and you know, hopefully that everyone else can chip in.
I'm more of a person that really hates conceding goals. Just like I love 1-0 wins. I love not conceding. Like it gives me pain to see us concede, even when I'm even that sort of. You could even say I'm a bit of a, you know, I don't even know what the right word is, but I'm a bit of a stubborn, or I'm kind of, you know, a spoiled kid sometimes, where even when somebody scores a worldie against me, I'll still find a way to complain, you know, or things like that in some way. I just hate conceding. And that's where I sort of felt like, Dave, if it meant that we brought in 2 brilliant center backs, yes, we lose maybe 30 goals scored, but if that meant that we conceded 30 fewer goals if we brought in two center backs, because we conceded 60, I think if we brought in Tapsoba and Van de Ven, and we already now have Vicario as well, I'd like to think we could probably get that down to around 33, you know, 34, something around that range. And if you want to be in the top 4 and the top 5, you kind of need to concede around under 30 goals, if I'm not mistaken, basically in a season, or you kind of need to be around that mark. So if those 2 center backs can guarantee that we concede around 30 goals fewer, I'd probably, you know, be a much happier man. Yes, I'd be a little confused as to where we make up for some of the goals lost, and also some of the creativity, because you have to think about this too. Harry Kane's not just, you know, a tap-in merchant or anything like that. You know, he's not a guy that's just hanging around in the box, just sort of finishing off chances. He's creating chances for others too. So it is going to be interesting to see how either James Maddison, Basuma, midfielders sort of step up and fill in for that void, or how other players maybe fill in for that void. Who knows? Maybe even Sonny sort of takes on a bit more creative burden, you know, as well. But it will be interesting. I personally, though, for me, Joe, I just hate conceding. And so if we could bring in 2 center backs as quickly as we can, then, you know, I'm kind of for that option.
Playing like Leeds isn't fun. Also,
true.
On that Kane point, I was just going to say, I remember seeing him drop back against West Ham, and I didn't find he really had much effect. Whereas when he was in and around the box, you know, even though he only scored a penalty, it's Harry Kane, isn't he? He scored week in, week out. But so I don't know in a Postecoglou system if he would be the source of creativity. But then again, I also I don't know if Postecoglou likes balls going in behind as much, where, you know, a Sonny or a Richarlison up front would be fast, and I don't know if Kane's as good at running in behind. So maybe the system really isn't as effective for a player like Kane, unless you're just bombarding balls into the box. And we don't have any fullbacks which can really cross. So,
yeah. Look, Brandon, for me, my man. Look, if you're going to replace Harry Kane with a youngster like that, for me, I'd accept Evan Ferguson and nobody else. He's the hottest property on the market for 18 years of age. That's where I'll be putting the money. But look, again, I question how effective Son and Kula are going to be in the system, playing the way they usually do, cutting in. You've got two midfielders now occupying that space that you didn't have last season in Højbjerg and Bentancur. We've seen Son and Kula cutting in against the line. Sorry?
Do you think Kane can play the 8?
Nah. Kane's an out-and-out striker. He's a goal-getter, my man. But what I mean by Kane,
I mean Kulu.
Son and Kulu is, if you think about it, right? And we've seen this against Lion City Sailors. They're cutting inside. But Madison and whoever else was the other one, I can't remember now, they were taking up that space. So they weren't getting their shots off. They were having to pass it on to the midfielders who are then popping the shots. So will Kane or will Son and Kulu get the same amount of goals they've got in years gone by when they have to transition to it? Do they have to switch wings? If they switch wings, are they still going to score the same goals? I'm not quite so sure. I actually think Ange has a huge headache in that department. I think when you look at the second half team, it works fine because you've got wingers on their preferred place choices, putting the balls in the box. When you were looking at the first half, they're all cutting inside into where all the traffic is,
they kept
when
doing
all
the
the
same
bodies
thing.
are. Will Son want to go and play on the right-hand side? Will he be as happy? Will Cooley want to go and play on the left and be as happy? I'm not so sure. I actually think Ange Postecoglou has a huge headache with Oldham. Does he go with Kane or Charlison? Does he go with Son? What wing did it play on? He's a massive, massive headache. So on that, Brandon, don't sell Kane.
I mean, that's where you want midfielders that can, score goals like Madison when they're sort of when you haven't got balls going in the box and you have to shoot from sort of longer regions to get corners and stuff. And to be honest, Højbjerg and Bentancur you've seen score goals from outside the box, but Madison's a really real one with quality shooting. So
he is a great signing, Joe, because Spurs in a long time have never had a midfielder that can sort of do both. We've often had midfielders that do one or the other. Either they're good creative midfielders, but they don't always score too many goals, or we have sort of a guy that can kind of do the defensive side of things, but might pop up with a goal here and there, but isn't exactly sort of the complete midfielder. I wouldn't say Madison is a complete midfielder. He doesn't always contribute too much, I think, on the defensive end, but he is more like what we had with Eriksen, which was somebody that could actually score a goal here and there, whether it be a free kick or, opportunities that he gets, and also has the ability to play others in behind, create for others. Because it always just felt like Spurs never really had a midfielder that could create as well as score at the same time. And Madison, I kind of got frustrated with him, Dave, because he was creating a ton of chances for himself and he just couldn't finish them. It was getting kind of a little annoying in that game, because he actually probably could have had a brace, if not a hat trick, in that most recent
Jack,
game.
this is another thing that I say. Everyone, like you're saying there, right? Madison had a rake of chances. Other people had a rake of chances, right? Yeah, we can put part of it down to preseason. But let's be honest. Look at the amount of shots we had on West Ham's goal and City Sailors' goal. You're not going to take, outside of what we already score, you ain't going to score too much more of that. It doesn't really matter what attacking players you add to it. Usually you end the game with, if you have that many shots, you still average around 3 to 4 goals. You're not actually going to average out at a lot more goals than usual. So for me, it's sort of like we say that, oh yeah, all these other players are going to chip in. Where's the evidence? They've had 30-odd shots on goals over the last few games. Did people chip in the way we expected them to, or the way people talk about? No. No, they didn't.
Yeah. What do you think? Or Brandon? Brandon, hopefully you're keeping well this evening, my man. By the looks of the weather, it could be raining on us sometime soon. Let me know if you want to come down Brooklyn side, if you want to have a chat and rant about the Spurs with me. Would love to see you sometime soon, Brandon. Meet up in person in the near future, my man. And hopefully you're keeping well this summer. Big up to you, brother.
Yeah, and never lose that infection. I was actually thinking about you weirdly the other day. Don't ask why. Weird. But anyway, I was like, do you know what? Through all the stuff that goes on, this guy always has a smile on his face, always has the same energy and enthusiasm. So, Brandon, big yourself up and share me the secret.
Where's the Balotelli, actually? I'd say bring in Gift Orban plus Balotelli. If it were really Brandon, you would
how old is Balotelli now?
I think he's old enough to be a pundit. I think he's being offered roles to be a pundit at this stage.
Did you see that Rabona goal he scored? I don't know.
No,
I remember the one he missed again. I remember the one he missed for City in pre-season, the back heel. You know, Mancini wasn't too happy about that, was he? Although, what a character. You know, that guy letting off fireworks in his bathroom, my man. But look. Okay, let's give you another question, my man. I mean, what's your expectations going into the season? I see a lot of people saying there is no expectations. You don't really have any. Do you have any expectations for the season?
My expectation is to score 50 goals and concede 70, to be honest with you. And play like Leeds did last season. Because Kane's obviously going. I mean, I don't know. Unless I would just put this point out. I've not seen anyone talk about it. I generally think Daniel Levy is stupid enough to not take 100 million and lose him on a free next season. You see the guy have no plan. Like, his ego is so big to the point where I really genuinely think that he could be stupid enough to not take the 100 million, let alone actually spend it correctly. Let's be honest.
You know what? I've actually said this, my man. I think Daniel Levy's going to take the gamble that Harry Kane fires us back to the Champions League, because if we lose him regardless, it's going to take us a few years to get back there. But let me ask you this. I know people say about Daniel Levy taking the 100 million, but do you think it's going to accelerate the process of bringing players in here, considering our biggest problem? It's not cash and it's not cash flow. It's getting rid of players that are blocking up that squad. And even if you sell Kane, you still have to get rid of about 8 or 9 more. So are we really going to see that money being spent the way people think it is, if the biggest problem is shifting out players and they ain't going anywhere?
I heard something else.
Is it wise to line the pockets of Tottenham with another 100 million?
We don't need the 100 million. You saw exactly. Even on that NBC post that we were the third most profitable club, the third most profitable sporting organisation, like in the last 3 years. Like, we were more profitable than United and City. We don't need the money. It's just Daniel Levy, as you said, lining his pockets. But yeah, like with outgoings, you've seen Davinson Sanchez. I didn't see any rumours of him like rejecting Moscow. Everyone assumed he did, but the rumours just fizzled out. Like, and same with Højbjerg. I've not seen any rumours there. It's like they're not even getting close. And I think that's probably because Spurs have ignored the offer. I would probably hazard a guess, because Daniel Levy will probably want 30 million for Sanchez, knowing him.
Well, do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me.
That's probably why we're not getting any players out, but he wouldn't.
I think I'm lagging.
Insane.
No, Dave. Now you're fine. What were you going to say?
Oh, okay. I just thought I was like, look, it wouldn't surprise me. That's probably, you look at the valuations he's putting on Kane and Højbjerg. I mean, I agree with it because I want the guys to stay. But could it be affecting us the other way, where he's putting too much value on other players, and that's why we can't shift them?
Yeah, what do you think, Joe?
I would take this. Might sound insane. There is no way that Kane is signing a new contract, right? Because we've not signed any defenders, so we'll probably finish lower than 10th, I think, last season. I would actually take like 50 million for him. Now, people might think that's absurd when we're talking about like 100 million offers. But if he's not going to sign a contract, he's just going to go on a free anyway. Even 50 million can sign a half decent Richarlison. Like, it's just getting anything for him,
You just you don't want him to go on a free, and
he's not signing a contract.
That's coming. I'm most fearful of
like. No,
Sorry,
I don't see how fans can think. No, that's all right. I don't see how fans can think like he's going to see that we're progressing with signed centre backs, even though we're 7 weeks into the transfer window, we've not signed any. But I don't see how fans are going to see that we've signed centre backs, and then Kane's going to think, oh yeah, like, I'd much rather play in the Conference League with Tottenham, who've not won a trophy in 14 years, than play for Bayern Munich, who have probably won more trophies in the last year than Tottenham have in the last 20 years. You know, so.
Yeah, look, we'll wait and see what happens. I mean, look, Bayern Munich got to stump up what we ask for first at the end of the day. Until they do, then they can keep flying them back and forth all they want. All they're doing is adding to pollution. So big up Bayern Munich. You don't care about the environment. Another thing to, have a go at you with. Any reason that Canada don't have a pop.
Why did they fly over? There was no reason.
Do you know what? In fact, what I want to see them do now is get out the pedlos and start pedaling over on their little pedlos, you know?
Maybe Harry Kane just really wanted, Oktoberfest tickets or something like that, and Levy wanted Oktoberfest tickets or something like that. Maybe that's what it's all just been. Just
Jack, don't forget, that's going to be a washout this year.
Yeah, exactly right. It's going to rain on their parade, Thailand style, dude. Let's bring some of that Thailand weather over to Munich for Oktoberfest.
Monsoon season.
Stoke on a Tuesday night in the FA Cup. Had a bit of rain. Richarlison's going to be out there scoring all the overhead kicks.
Let's hope so.
I hope Richarlison can do better than what he done last year, because it just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. So we do need him to step up this year. Hopefully, the hat trick against these City Sailors will be the springboard we need. But look, my man, big yourself up. Thank you for.
What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about Ollie Skip? What do you guys think about Ollie Skip?
Overrated, in my opinion. Look, I think I'm one of these, right? I'll praise players, but I'll also, I'm not afraid to point out their weaknesses, because I believe in football nowadays. There's too much nicey. I'm bigging them up. Yeah, you're great, you're fantastic. But then, further down the line, when they encounter problems in their career, they don't have the answers to it. So I'm one of them, For me, people pointing out my weaknesses made me more determined to go out and work on them. And I would hope at the professional elite level, that's the same sort of idea. So for me, I'll point out his weaknesses. I don't think he's good enough on the ball. And I think he'll end up suffering the same as Harry Winks in terms of career-wise at Tottenham, where he'll fall further and further down the pecking order if he doesn't become better. But also, even if he wants to get in the starting lineup, Basuma's better on the ball. Bentancur's better on the ball. Højbjerg's better on the ball. Lo Celso, Ndombele, they're all better on the ball. So if he wants to get into the map midfield, he has to get better. He just has to.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is a wild comparison, but I'd probably compare him to like Ndombele. Not the work rate wise, but I've seen parts of him which I've seen a ball over the top and it'd be perfect. And I've seen a world-class tackle with like brilliant technique, but it's so inconsistent. I think he's got good positional awareness, and I think he can, I think he might be able to intercept and do a good tackle here and there. I do think he's strong and durable, and I do think he could be an intelligent footballer. But then again, he is young, and Postecoglou could teach. How young is he? What, 23, 22?
Yeah, but that's not young in football terms, though, man. That's already 5 years into a career.
He's still got. No, I know, but he's still got 3 years until his prime. I do think Postecoglou might be able to teach him that 6 role. He might be able to get the consistency out of him, because he's not been consistent. That's why people are calling him bad. But I don't know if I've seen something which other people haven't.
No, look, there's definitely a chance.
I feel like there is something there.
Look, he's got fight in him, right? He's got grit, he's got determination, and I love that. But in terms of on the ball, he has to improve if he wants to make it at this level, and that's just the harsh reality of it. I do hear you. Could he play the 6? I think, look, 3 years out from his prime, fine. But if he doesn't improve, he's 27 like Winks with no career in front of him and hasn't made any imprint on the game of football. So, it's sort of like, it's one of them. He better start progressing quickly. You look at other players in and around his age, similar. Jude Bellingham, younger, England team. Declan Rice, maybe 1 year, 2 years older. England team, big, massive move to Arsenal, this, that, and the other. And that's where Skip lacks behind a lot of these counterparts. But look, Joe, we better start ending off this, my man. It's 11:15, and it's my sister's birthday tomorrow, so I have to get over to the house and wish her happy birthday. But big up, my man. Really appreciate your time this evening, and hopefully we'll speak to you again soon.
Have a good night, Joe.
I think he's frozen anyway. I think he's frozen himself out. But look, Joe, hopefully you can still hear us. Big yourself up, my man, and appreciate you coming on, brother. Big up, Joe.
Good call, Joe.
Jim says,
good call.
And everyone, give up Joe. Give Joe a lot of love in the comments, by the way. I really like that guy. And do you know what's most infectious about it? The big smile, and I love his accent. Nice. So big up, Kay. We've got Jim, just a guy who loves Spurs. Great show. Gents, missed the pretty lady this week. That we did, lad. That we did. Another guy we're missing is Phil Coys as well. Make sure you come and see us soon, Brummy Phil. But big yourself up, lad. So big up, Jim. And then we also have Rob Wallace. Hi, Dave and Jax. Once I finish my house on the beach and get my fishing rod in the water, I'll definitely get set up to come on fan shows. Been supporting since 1978. Well, first of all, Rob Wallace, I mean, I'm surprised you don't have luscious long grey hair by now with how, supporting Tottenham that long, because I know my dad's gone grey from Tottenham. But hopefully that renovation on the house, gets sorted soon. And you know what? I hope you're doing it to a high standard, a high spec, my man. No point in doing any half-ass jobs. So the fact that it's taking time, I presume you are. And you know what? I used to go fishing with my old lad when I was younger. Useless at it, didn't catch much. I don't even eat fish either. If I did catch one, I'd let it go back in. I don't have the heart to do all the gutting and everything else. But it is bloody relaxing, my man. Very relaxing. So look, get your priorities, get them done first, and then come and see us, Rob. Jack, anything you want to say to Mr. Wallace?
Trying to build a house on the beach, I imagine it's not easy. I imagine there are also plenty of distractions while building a house on the beach. You probably just feel like you're already in a good spot. Maybe just pop up a chair and just have a good time. You might even forget about the house that you even need to build because it's probably such a nice view, such good vibes already. I'm very jealous. I would love to have that right now, especially this sort of time of year. Would love to be on the beach. When it comes to fishing, I'm a bit like Dave, not as experienced, not as much of an angler myself, but I did actually one time go up to Alaska with my family, and we actually caught so much fish that it was actually almost impossible to try to get rid of all of it in time. We had to, give some of it to our friends, neighbors. It was just ridiculous how much we caught up there. So I would say if you're ever up, if you ever come up to the USA, definitely go to Alaska, which I know is probably the farthest you could possibly go in the world. I think that's the other side of the world for you. Absolutely. I think literally the other side of the world for you. But if you ever find yourself up there, that's probably some of the best fishing you could find. Big up to you, Rob. Thanks for your support, my man. And also as well, thanks for helping out people like Mark New and people like that to come on the fan show as well. Thank you for that, Rob. It's very kind, brother. Very kind.
Nah, big up, Rob. He's an absolute legend. And, hopefully, that gifted out the 5 memberships isn't the difference between tile and, paint. Hopefully, because we want you to have tile, my man. We want you to have the best products. But, Rob, big yourself up, brother. It's been a privilege getting to know you on this journey, and hopefully this season we have more enjoyable times to come ahead. That is the main hope, my man. But look, enjoy your day. Enjoy your day over there, brother. And thank you for all your support. Absolute legend. But that brings us to the end of the show. I want to say a massive thank you to absolutely everybody who comes on this fan show. Amazing inputs and really makes it what it is. So the guys that are coming on, big yourself up. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has tuned in over the course of the 3 hours and 40 minutes. Absolute legends. Really appreciate all that support. Die hard. Appreciate everyone who's liked, subscribed. And I want to give a run through as well here to say thank you to everyone who chooses to support this channel. It is absolutely unbelievable.
Big up to Connor Cunningham, absolute legend. Big up to Tin Man 007, Moondog. I hope if you're still listening, my friend, hopefully you're keeping well. Big up to Ian Cook, my man. Next month, remember to throw in that member milestone. Make sure that I don't forget this time, Ian Cook, if you're still listening. Rob Belcher's in the house. Good to see you in here. Thank you for your support, Rob. Absolute legend. Dunkel Z Torque. It's good to see you becoming the Flat Cap member once again. I believe you were a member before. Big up me. I really appreciate you tuning in, and also hope to see you back here when you're ready, as well as Dell Support. Dell Support, that was also a very kind comment, my man. And Dave and I will speak about making it a bit more clear to people tomorrow when it comes to sort of the memberships and everything. That was very kind of you, brother. And also great question later, actually, Dell Support, too, when you actually gave us that toughie. That was a tough one for sure. Brandon Troller. Hopefully you're having a good evening, my man, up over here in the Northeast. And also Jim, she'll hopefully be on next week to, please your eyeballs. Big up to Rob Wallace as well. Absolute legend.
Guys, thank you so much. Hopefully we wake up tomorrow. There's clarity around the Kane situation. We know whether it's happening or not. And hopefully a centre-back or two. That would be absolutely nice. But look, until then, I'm not going to let it ruin the rest of my evening. I'm off to chill out. I don't know what I'm going to watch. But guys, hopefully you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much. See you all back here tomorrow at some point. As always, come on, you Spurs. In the mighty Ange we trust. Daniel Levy, by centre-backs.
Need the centre-backs. Tepsoban, Big Ange we trust. Come on, you Spurs. See you, everybody.
Come on, you Spurs.
Everywhere we go.